I need to make some commands tomorrow for uh, the podcast specifically about alerts and stuff because I don't know if you've watched any of the podcasts that I've done, but I always let people know that I have alerts and everything turned off so that I can give the guests the undivided attention that they deserve.
I did not know that. That's actually awesome.
Yeah, and because it's not about me, it's about you all. Um, like I said, we'll wait just a few minutes for people to come through and
And be ready.
so so you usually got my tongue twisted up there. Stream at 7. So you're EST.
I'm EST,
Okay,
yes.
okay,
So I like today I woke up at like 5:40, 5:50 EST in the afternoon.
okay. I got you. I got you. I'm a minute late. No, that's okay. I assume this is somebody from your chat, perhaps Star Star.
That is Star is someone from chat. Yeah.
So hello, buddy. So we're just gonna wait just a couple of minutes for people to come in. Um,
I'm surprised Star remembered. Thank you, Star.
oh, dang. So Star Star's not a mod, are they?
No,
Okay, I was
no.
gonna say, dang, like yeah, that's my mods. They don't know me. Like, no, this is real. No, I by the way, I appreciate your. I always have a habit of looking in I bit of I guess maybe odd voyeurism or whatever. So, but like looking into people's rooms and what they have. So I appreciate the Eeyore.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
again,
Yeah.
yeah, I always liked Eeyore. I liked Eeyore, and I liked um, and I can't even
Winnie, Tigger,
the owl.
the
That
owl. Oh, I don't know the owl's name. I don't know the owl's
yeah,
name. Does anybody know the owl's
I
name?
can't remember the owl's name, but I like
I,
owls. I always liked the owl.
I'm trying to think of their name. I mean, should that be something I'd look like? We could look that up, but is it worth it or?
Yeah,
Cause now
but
I'm curious. I'm curious now, like, cause I know Eeyore and Winnie the Pooh. Everybody knows Christopher Robbins, right?
right.
So it's like,
Literally,
who are the other one?
I typed in owl from. Oh, his name's just Al.
His name is just Owl.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. What about the baby the smallest character in the game in the show? It's a baby rabbit. I think it's the kangaroo's baby.
The baby kangaroo was named Roo. I remember that.
Okay, Roo.
I don't remember what his mom's name was, but I remember him.
I don't remember neither.
But man, Al kind of got Al kind of got screwed. He
He put it
didn't
in
get
a
a name.
stick,
He
yeah.
didn't get a name. They gave everybody a name but him. He's just Al.
That's
They could
funny.
have even gone with Al, like AL, right? Short for
Yeah,
Alfred or
yeah,
something like.
yeah, yeah. That's true. It's funny that you mentioned the Eeyore. I'll tell you a story about him since I'm here.
Sure.
He was a gift. Me and my best friend. And I'll go into this more later, but like I live with my best friend's family,
Okay.
right? So my best friend, right, whose parents I live with, we and him went to the mall, and we went into the Disney store, right? And I don't know how long ago it's been. It's probably been like 2, 3, maybe 4 years. So it hasn't been forever, but it's been a few years.
Mhm.
And there was a sale going on in the Disney store, right? And it was like buy one get one for $1. So he bought the teddy bear off Toy Story 4, 3, 3.
Okay.
It's the boss teddy bear
Right.
that
Yeah.
got a
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so he bought him, and he was strawberry scented, by the way. Smelled really good. It's just phenomenal. and he got Eeyore for me, and ever since then I've had Eeyore, and I like sleep with him every single night, and like I have like a nightly routine, right? Like I like organizing my pillows in a certain way, and like being positioned in a certain way, and Eeyore always goes under my right arm, and his tail, which is not supposed to be detachable, it's supposed to be stuck to his body by this little thread. But I guess one night when I first got him while he was sleeping, it just ripped off.
Oh
So
dang.
Eeyore goes under my right arm, and then his tail goes in my left hand, and I just sleep like this on my arm, obviously the pillow in between, and then lights out all the way. But I do like Eeyore a lot. People say he symbolized like depression and things of that nature. And if you think about it, everybody like, and I like to say this on stream, is going through a battle, is going through something, and I feel like there's not a single person on earth who is not depressed. I don't know why depression exists, but I feel like everybody is, and I feel like there's a difference between having depression and being depressed. Um, and I just feel like most of us, I'm not saying we all have depression, but it's we have moments where we're sad or not feeling well. And Eeyore's just a reminder that like it's okay not to be okay, and that it's all gonna be fine at the end of the day. Just keep pushing forward, keep walking forward, no matter what. Don't give up. If
Well,
that
yeah,
makes sense.
there was actually well, first of all, there's actually something that I would highly recommend you and anybody else read, and it's a book on philosophy. It's the Tao of Pooh, and it basically explains Taoism uh, through Winnie the Pooh characters, and
Oh,
it's actually a really really good book. It it sounds almost in a way that it's a gimmick, but it actually has become a pretty prominent book of philosophy. I wish I remember the author's name. I feel bad not knowing the author's name, but yeah, the Tao of Pooh. Um, I would highly recommend it. It's something that my yoga teacher recommended to me, and it's a really good book. But it goes through and it kind of explains each character, what the representation is, through a Taoist philosophy.
okay.
But I think Eeyore, in a lot of ways, Eeyore is probably one of the most relatable characters. There's also a theory too that, for those of you who don't know, Christopher Robin is a real person. Christopher Robin wrote Winnie the Pooh. Um, so there's actually a a theory that these characters, whether it be Al or Roo, Piglet, etc., they represent, um, you know, Richard Craze. Is that who it was? Kidley. Okay. They represent different facets of his life and who he was as a person. So it's really kind of interesting to go through. I was a one of my degrees was in literature, so I love talking about this type of stuff. But yeah, I completely agree. I think that Eeyore got a bad rap. I think when we were children, Eeyore was the character that like you wanted to, I don't know, avoid. Like he was the character that you thought like, why would
Yeah.
we ever invite Eeyore to the party? And then when you grow up, you're like, Eeyore's the only real one out here.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Right.
like
Exactly.
everybody else is like, like like Tigger is like 24 hours of just bundle of joy, but like at the same time, uh, I don't know if you'll like how much of Woody the Pooh you will remember, but like he was also like highly destructive, like almost uh what's the word I'm looking for? But he was very uncaring about other people's feelings and other people's property and all this stuff. And when you grow up, you start to realize, when you're a kid, you associate with like the fun, happy tiger. But when you grow up, you kind of realize like, no, some of these people are, you know.
Right.
So it's always kind of, I don't know. I love that stuff. Sorry, I went on a tangent.
No, you're good. You're good. It's just what you're saying. I've never been one for reading books, as you can see right here in this bookshelf behind me. I'm amiibos. These are a lot of amiibos. I don't know if they're visible. A lot of video games. I have Wii games, PlayStation games. Behind this row of video games, I have all my GameCube games. because I collect GameCube and stuff. But I've never been one for reading books except one series, which I don't know if it's captured in the camera right up here.
Oh,
It's
yeah, we
um
yeah.
it's the Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I have all
Okay.
13 books. Yeah, all 13 books. I read up to 9. I haven't finished 9. So from 9 to 13 I haven't gotten to, but all the other ones were great. I started in like first grade, and every single year since first grade, a new book would come out each November. But the reason I say it is because I'm not really one for reading, but I did see someone, and I don't know if this is the person you were talking about. Talk about so supposedly, Christopher Robin had, I think they said schizophrenia. They
Hmm.
said that Tigger had ADHD, so that's why he was always like moving and being like that. The Eeyore supposedly had depression, and I think the rabbit or one of the other characters had a narcissism or something. But like you said, there is the book that probably explains every single one in detail. This is just what I'm remembering off the top of
Yeah.
my head. But I do find all these different things and things of that nature pretty interesting, just because it's a part of human life. We are all different. We are all unique. We all go through our different experiences and different things, and getting to understand one another. And this is something I see a lot in my stream. Getting to know each other and maybe not understand each other perfectly, but like, okay, you have your opinion on something. Okay, I hear you. I can see where you're coming from. Even though I don't agree, I respect it. And the person being able to do the same for you, I don't agree, but I respect what you're saying. It's, I feel like, a good way to like bring a little bit of more peace into this world, because a lot of the issues we have is when we disagree on things. And it's okay to disagree, but we gotta try and respect one another, because when that respect is not there, it's what causes a lot of conflict, I feel. So I feel like maybe more love could be out there in the world if we could just try to understand each other, and most importantly, respect one another.
Right. No, and I completely agree, and I like that sentiment, and I like that you share that with your viewers, with your community during your stream, and yeah, don't ever apologize for it, because I it's one of those things where literature and writing and storytelling in general has kind of shifted over the years. And so people sometimes I would say, well, I don't really read that many books. I love books myself, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that are into storytelling through the medium of video games, TV shows. uh, Comic books are literature, but some people would consider them not. Sequential art is the formal name. uh, and all this stuff, people kind of, I think it's that inherent, they want to um, not necessarily be, down on themselves, but it's one of those things where they're like, oh, I don't really. Well, it's not necessarily true. I mean, storytelling is storytelling. It used to be the very uh, origin of storytelling wasn't literature. It was oral storytelling. I'd tell a story to you, you'd remember it, tell it to somebody else, and through eventually not remembering every detail and having to make things up, things would change and all that stuff. But it used to be, I mean, people forget things like, for instance, Aesop's fables, right? The famous, collection of parables and all that. That was all done through, oration. That was done through oral storytelling. He remembered all that stuff and he just told it. So, um, and then real quick, I want to see something. Uh,
Oh, sorry.
okay, Kidley. I saw that you had a question. So here's the for everybody new. And by the way, so let's go ahead and I guess we'll do the formal introduction. The informal formal introduction. So welcome everybody to the latest episode of the Yawning After Dark podcast, which is still not being held when it is dark outside. So that name is still not entirely apt. Um, and I'm gonna have to come up with a new one. But anyways, tonight, this evening, we have on, and I want to make sure that I say it right because I've heard two people pronounce it two different ways. Is it Pavel
Okay,
or Pavel?
neither.
Okay, well,
Neither. So the right. Okay, so just a little bit of a story behind this. I could go into detail if you want to know or anybody wants to know. The easiest way, which is actually not even the right way, but the easiest way, or what I tell people is Pavel.
Pavel. Okay.
So Pavel the Snail.
Pavel the Snail. Okay.
There you
So snail. I just immediately abandoned trying to pronounce it.
go.
So what is the right way?
So it would be I'm Spanish, so I'm from this country right here. I don't know if any of you have
Okay.
known this flag. Does anybody in chat know what flag this is? If you do, you're pretty awesome. But I like to tell people I'm a rare breed. But we'll get to that in a little bit. But it's in Spanish, so it would be Pavel, Pavel. So that
Pavel.
would be the yeah. So that would be the right way. How my mom and my dad call me. They'd be like Pavel, Pavel.
We had somebody
Um,
guess Argentina.
that was close. That was very close. So Argentina is to the left of my country, and Brazil is right underneath. So pull out them geography maps. I'm under Brazil to the right hand side of Argentina.
All right, everybody, get out your geography. That American education system. We're not gonna.
Throughout all high school, they I think mentioned my country like once throughout the whole high school career. And college, I went for a semester. Nothing, nothing about my country. We're a rare breed. We there's not a lot about us out there.
So we had Kidley guess Uruguay.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
the right country. That is the right country.
Okay. Pog. Uh, geography was never my geography was never my strong suit. Like at one point, I could tell you most of the state capitals and stuff like that. I could tell you where like Canada was. Canada's up
Okay.
here.
Yeah, right.
Canada. But other than
Hey.
that, I just geography was never my strong suit. Um, okay, so Pavel.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm gonna try my best. And perhaps screw it up multiple times. You'll have
It's
to
okay.
correct
It's
it.
okay. Work
Um,
in progress.
so this is all kind of leading up to an interesting story. So before we kind of even a lot of times I'll ask, what got you started to playing video games, et cetera, et cetera. And I do want to go over that, but so did you all move from Uruguay to the States? Or how did that come about? Because you said you're staying with your best friend right now.
Yeah, so that's a really, really long story. But if you guys want to hear it out, then I could definitely share and just, I'm a pretty open book, and I like being like honest and open with like everybody, like with chat and stream and social media and stuff. Just because I feel like social media tries to hide or doesn't show everything, right? Like if you're having a bad day, you were just crying 5 minutes ago, you might show a picture of the outside world with your back facing the camera so they can't see your face. I like to think that social media is like a clown, okay? Because you never know what the person in that clown suit is feeling or going through because you can't see the face. That person could be crying. There could be like thorns inside the mask, but all you seeing is the outside of that mask and that smile on it, and him acting a fool. But you never know what anybody's seeing through. So I like being very open and just telling everybody or just explaining things just because I feel like they could connect and be like, oh wow, he understands me. Oh wow, yeah, I've been through that. Oh yeah, I see where he's coming from, you know? So I was born in Uruguay. And I'm the oldest. I am the first child. My parents had me when they were relatively young. My mom was about 19. She got pregnant at 18, had me at 19. My dad was, I think, 20 or 21. Um, so I was born over there. A couple things happened, and so my mom decided to move to the United States to keep the family together. I'm not gonna go into too much detail about what exactly, but just let me just say to keep the family together. Um, and so in 2002, right, my mom was pregnant with my second sibling, right, in 2002, like towards the end. And then my dad came to the United States like at some point early 2003 because we came in April. So like maybe February of 2003, he came to the United States. In April of 2003, me, my mom and my baby brother who was in her stomach, so my mom came pregnant, came to the United States. We came with a visa, okay? My dad, me, my mom came with visa. Obviously, my little brother was in her stomach. What real quick, they did not know that my mom was pregnant. She did not disclose of that information, so they had no idea, right? So you're not supposed to travel, I guess, or for an extended period when you're pregnant because then the baby's born in a different country, he gets citizenship for that country. My mom did not disclose that information. We came with visa. We were supposed to be here 6 months. We never left. So after the 6 months of being here, we were actually illegal for the longest time. So I was illegal from the age of 3 years old till the age of about 13. But obviously, since I was so small, I didn't personally feel it, right? Because I couldn't drive, right? You could still go to public school if you're illegal. I wasn't worried about college. There was nothing that will being illegal affected me in.
Mm-hmm.
But for my parents, there was things. So I know what it's like. Okay, a little bit because I remember things like this, like my dad having a hard time finding a job or finding a job, but it paid terribly because obviously he was illegal. He didn't have papers. One thing I respect my parents for, and I'm gonna be honest, is they never stood low. To the point of using like illegal papers or anything of that nature. So they always kept it obviously not legit because we were illegal, but they never went to that extreme of using like illegal measures to try and get a job, right? But there's pros and cons to everything. It was hard for them to find a job, but they were able to find their jobs and stuff like that. So like very not super early in my childhood, but I remember when I was way younger, we used to stay. Me and my brother would stay with babysitters and stuff because they had to whatever they could find they had to get. And
Mm-hmm.
also my parents split, so the original goal was to come here to keep the family together. I think when I was about 6 years old, my parents ended up splitting anyway. So that was a very unfortunate. Um, but I remember, my mom got a boyfriend, my dad had a girlfriend. And so yeah. With that being said, at one point my dad tried to married in a lady who was a U.S. citizen. She was like Hispanic but has citizenship. So my dad married the lady, and was with her for a couple years. I'm not gonna say any names, but
That's okay.
she had her issues, and I remember this. It's crazy. She was like an alcoholic, and like the state had taken her child away from her and stuff like that a couple years previous, so the child lived with the dad. But my dad was with her and stuff, and I guess they I got along fine. I don't know too much. And the reason I'm telling this story is because I remember one one day, and this is like so like here in my mind. We went to my dad's house on the weekends because we would see him on the weekends. And while we were over there, it was like I think Saturday, and they announced that he had work Sunday. So instead of taking us home himself Sunday at the end of the day, she took us. She was supposed to take us home, but instead of taking us home, she went and drove to a liquor store, right? And she drove to the liquor store. I'm like I think 7 or 8 years old. My brother's like the 4 or 5 maybe. And she goes into the liquor store, comes out with alcohol, and then leaves us there at the liquor store. Me being eight and stuff, and my brother being like I said 5, and leaves and just leaves us there abandoned, right? So we're there, two little kids abandoned outside a liquor store in New Jersey. This all happened in New Jersey, and we were there for a couple hours. So it was just me, and my little brother, and then this one lady, and I don't even remember her name. I know my mom became friends with her. She worked for her job was I don't know. Do you live in the U.S. by any
Yes.
chance? Okay, have you ever heard of Mary Cade?
Oh,
It's
Mary Kay, the makeup.
yeah, the makeup brand.
Yeah,
So
they
she
go door
worked
to
for
door. Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Yes. So she worked for that, and she like found us and then took us to my aunt's house because I remember how to get to my aunt's house since we had recently moved. I didn't know how to get home, but to my aunt's house. So she drove us to my aunt's house, and then we were able to get reunited with my mom. But she was pissed for like a long time and stuff.
Well, yeah.
Um, but it was amazing because there are good people in this world, and that lady that found us and took us home was an amazing and outstanding person for doing such a thing, especially two young little kids who could have known what could have happened. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I'm very thankful for that. Um, but then my dad ended up divorcing her. Then he moved to the south while we were in New Jersey, right? So we were in Jersey. He was in Georgia. right? And that is a pretty interesting point in my life because I was a little bit older, but still not a teen, and my dad was living here, so we went from seeing him every weekend to seeing him only during the summers or during like winter or summer break. And that was really like rough for me because every time he would come, I would be so excited, but every time he would leave, it would make me so sad. I would cry. So it's like that was really rough, and like I think that affected me a little bit because nowadays I feel like I try not to get super close to people because I feel like people just end up like leaving or abandoning me, and it like causes some like internal issues. It's like, no, why does everybody leave? But I try my best. It's something I try my best with and stuff. And I know my dad has his reasons for moving down south and stuff. It happens. It did affect me, but it could have been better. It could have been way worse. Then in 2012, my mom married an American. And his parents were from Uruguay, but he was born here in the United States. Um, and she was with him. And then they did the naturalization process to become legal. And so in 2013, I became a resident of the United States, which is the green card. And they're actually green for those who were wondering. They're actually green. I got my green card when I was 13. And then a few years later, my dad married an American, got his green card, then became a citizen. Well, when he became a citizen, since I was on the age of 18, I also become a citizen automatically. So then I went to the passport agency. We sent my green card in, my information in, and then in December, I remember this because I actually still have the card, the envelope they sent this in December of 2016. I received my passport in the mail, and I thought that was really amazing. One quick second. One quick second. Yes. Okay, I'll be right there. I'll take it. I'll take care of it. No issue. Okay, sorry. Somebody came to let me know something. I apologize about that. So in December, I got the my passport, so that means I was a citizen. So I was, like I said, 16 in 2016. So it was before I even drove, and before I even got into college or graduated high school. So then I had everything I needed once I was done with school and stuff. But yeah.
Your flag just lifted up above.
Oh, so my ceiling fan is
Okay.
is on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My ceiling fan is on. Don't worry, because this one moves too. Yeah. Um. But sorry that
No,
freaked you out. That
I
happened a
no
couple
no no. I
times.
was just thinking like, who are you talking to, Paul? Were they ghosts? Like, like just
No,
the
so
flag
my door
lifting up.
my door's right here, and so they came knocking at the door asking
No
me to
no no.
do something. So
You're,
I was about to, yeah.
you're fine. You're fine.
Um, and then the ceiling fan just lifted the flag. But that's kind of like my story with like coming to the United States and like citizenship and becoming legal with the whole spiel. If
Okay.
that answers your question
No no yeah yeah.
originally, hopefully.
So in throughout all of this, as you're going, through all of this stuff and what sounds like moving around a lot. Um, at what point did video games become a prominent fixture in your life?
Good question. Can I grab something real quick?
Oh yeah, you're fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have too many of these. 1 second. Okay. So, when I was so we came in 2003. The Nintendo GameCube was the hype at that point in time. I personally think it was years ahead of its time. I love the Nintendo GameCube. Is my favorite console. Seriously, favorite console. My shelf does look a little bit messy. I'll fix that in a second.
You're
But
fine.
the first game I remember playing as a kid was
Luigi's
Luigi's
Mansion.
Mansion 1. Um, so I don't know if any of you guys play. I actually had two copies of the game. I accidentally grabbed the one that didn't have everything in it, but I do have a complete copy that's been open. And then the second game I remember playing the most was Super Mario Sunshine.
Okay.
And these two games were like games that I remember like the most, even when I was little. It's like it's insane. These both of these games have been fantastic. I remember a couple of years after my mom split up with her boyfriend, I remember I was like in kindergarten, right? Kindergarten or first grade. I'm pretty sure it was more like kindergarten. Um, and this is gonna be a little bit weird. Before I finish your question, I don't know why. I do not know why, but I'm able to remember one girl's name from kindergarten, right? And I tell myself when I grow my platform, I want to ask the internet to see if they could help me find her because it would be so cool to be able to find her. And I don't know, if I'm being honest, I thought she was the prettiest girl in kindergarten, and maybe that's why I'm able to remember her name. And it happens with a couple other people in second and third grade, and then no, first and second grade. Then from third grade forward, I'm able to like pretty much remember everybody, or I have contact with some of these people. But for kindergarten, first and second grade, I had no contact with none of them, and I would like to find like three to four people, uh, four to five people. Um, and in kindergarten, there was the girl's name was Ashley, right? And I remember she was blonde and she was super pretty. And I remember we had for Valentine's Day, we got all the girls Cinderella dolls, or not Cinderella, Barbie dolls, and all the guys like these little like robot toy stuff. Like my mom and her boyfriend bought everything for all my classmates. And I remember telling my mom to pick the prettiest Barbie to get to Ashley. And I don't know why I remember this detail, but I would love to find her someday in the future and be like, you know, I remembered you after all these years. And then in first grade, and sorry, I'm going on a tangent. I just think this is like the craziest thing. I had like I think it was first or second. I think it was first. It was like my first ever girlfriend, right? And we never broke up, man. So I feel bad because after all these years, right, we never broke. I don't remember breaking up. So her name was Leslie, and I remember she had black hair, or like dark brown hair. So I would like to find Leslie,
And
um,
officially break up with her?
and officially break up with her. Be like, listen, I'm sorry, but it didn't work out. And then there was a guy who I would play tetherball with. His name was Angel. And then there's one other girl whose name was Lester. And I don't know. I just would like to reconnect with all these people and be like, you know, I don't know why, but I remember you after all these freaking years. How have you been? Tell me how your life's been. But anyways, when I was like in first or second grade, I lived
except
in
for
front.
except for Leslie, you don't care.
Nah, nah. Well, it's not that I don't care. So I want to officially break up. But in kindergarten, I went to this school, and I remember being scared at night. And Luigi's Mansion was my favorite game, but I was always too scared to play it because it would creep me out and stuff. And so even since way back then, you know, GameCube was very prominent. The Super Mario Sunshine being my second favorite. I remember I woke up before school a couple times to play Super Mario Sunshine before I went to school. And I just love the GameCube. Love, love, love. Like I said, most of my shelf, you can see there's like a back row. The whole back row is full of GameCube games from my childhood that I wanted to have and be able to play if I ever felt like it. And so since way back then, I think GameCube has been a stable in my life that's impacted or had played a major role.
Okay. So first of all, I want to say that as somebody pointed out in chat, as video pointed out, you're probably one of the few people that can have the "it's complicated" status on their Facebook on their relationship, and it actually be true. Like, yeah, I've been in a relationship for 15 plus years. I never broke up with this person. Um,
Right.
so I have to ask, with GameCube, and I still have my GameCube as well. So, and I still have a bunch of games from it. I gotta ask you if you remember some of the OG classics that some people have kind of forgotten. One of them was Eternal Darkness. I don't
So
know.
it's Eternal Darkness. If I'm not mistaken, it's one of the rarest games for GameCube. It's
Yeah.
actually one of the most expensive ones right now. I've never played Eternal Darkness. I don't know much of it at all. I just know it's like the most expensive and like one of the rarest for GameCube.
So Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, I believe, is the full convoluted title. It was a horror game that took place over the course of, if I remember correctly, and it's been a while since I played it too, but there was a character in the very beginning of the game that you start out as, and then you go through and you play as his relatives, trying to throughout history, trying to stop this all-consuming evil. But it's over the course of like several centuries through his relatives and all that. Um, but one of the key aspects of the game that was unique and kind of still unique at this time was that you had a sanity meter, and the sanity meter, as it went down, things would start to happen. Now, there's been other games that have had sanity meters. I mean, famously, Amnesia, Dark Descent had one, right? The longer you stayed in
Okay.
the dark, the longer you stayed around a monster, etc., your sanity would go down. Well, in Sanity's or Eternal Darkness, uh, one of the cool aspects was is that there became visual representations of your sanity depleting. So, but they were so intricate and so nuanced and so trolly that it was some of the best. Uh, I mean, I wouldn't even say necessarily that they were scary things that happened, but it was some of the best in-game horror mechanics I've ever seen. For instance, when your sanity would drop to a certain point, you'd see a bug crawl across the screen. Um, but I mean, it was in the game. It wasn't like actually on your screen, but you would see it just
Right.
kind of like dart across the screen. Um, your character would drop dead, and then they'd wake back up. The screen would shift to where everything was upside down. One of the famous ones is if you had your sanity low enough and you went to a save point, it would say that your save file was corrupted. Um,
Oh wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
there
Okay.
was a lot of stuff that like just absolutely trolled the crap out of people. Say the game disc couldn't be read and all this stuff, and it was really, really, really a unique experience. One of these days, I got to get a capture card and play some of these games, but
Do you still have Eternal Darkness?
hmm
Let me see, cause if I'm not mistaken, like I said, that's one of the rarest game. Like, let me see. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's one of the a loose copy of the game is like $70 if you could find someone selling it for that low, and then brand new you're looking at over $250. Brand new and sealed, never open, and then complete over 100.
okay. Well, I definitely don't have. Um, I definitely don't have a brand new version. I think, in fact, actually, I think somebody got it used from GameStop, but it was a really cool game, and I appreciate them getting me that because I think they got me for my birthday. They got me that, and they got me Metal Gear Solid. Um, but I always loved that game. Another game I loved on GameCube was Tales of Symphonia.
I've
Uh,
never played that one either.
okay, well now Tales of Symphonia, it might be cheaper now because you can get it on Steam.
Okay.
So now that it came out on Steam, it might be cheaper to get on GameCube. Although I would recommend getting the GameCube version because Steam version's a little wonky. They didn't fix it as well as they needed to. But of course, you could go with the classics, Resident Evil 4 and all that. But the Metroid series. But I always loved the various RPGs and stuff that they would put out. The Mario games were great. Mario Sunshine was an awesome game. Um,
Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door. You played that one?
I've played the Paper Mario for the Switch.
Origami King.
Yeah, but and then the Switch and DS were other great. I mean, Nintendo's put out fantastic consoles over the years. Gotten.
Well,
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead. Sorry. No, no, you go. You finish.
I
You
was just gonna
finish.
say they put out stuff like I'm so happy to see things coming back like Phoenix Wright, um,
Yeah.
and the Fire Emblem series.
Do you like Fire
Oh
Emblem?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I haven't played them in a while, but the ones for the DS I absolutely loved.
So, me like I'm a huge like Nintendo collector. Like, let me see if I can
I'm
show-
just waiting for like.
like under my bed I have these shoe boxes, right?
Mhm.
And like, see, I'll throw you back a little bit. Look at this. The
Oh wow.
original Mario with
Okay,
Duck Hunt
wait.
on it.
Hang on. That dog is the most evil thing ever in Duck Hunt.
He is pretty ominous. Pretty
Yes.
ominous. He's in Smash Brothers.
Well, don't
Uh,
they? Do you know that they have that
the
horror game?
VR game.
Yeah,
Yes.
that came
It's
out, and they made the dog like the main.
yeah, it's called Duck Hours, Hunt Hours, something like that.
um.
It's not called Duck Hunt, but it's called something similar.
Yeah.
Um, oh, I don't remember what it was called.
Hang
But
on.
yeah, he's the main heart, and like, yeah.
I played that game and nothing happened. Um.
Well, it's because there's like Easter eggs supposedly, because I know like I was told supposedly, and I'm not trying to spoil you for
Duck
anybody, but like
season.
duck season. There we go.
Yeah.
At one point you have to decide between like shooting like you have to aim at the duck, but instead of aiming at the duck, you could aim at the dog and try to shoot the dog, and it causes the game to play out differently if you shoot at the dog than at the duck. But I don't know when in the game that point is. But there's like a lot of Easter eggs into it. If anything, I would recommend. Have you guys ever heard of Game Theorist? He made a really good episode on YouTube. He's a big YouTuber, over 10 million
Yeah.
subscribers,
But that's
who
just a
made a
game theory.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and he made a really good video explaining all the possible outcomes and all like the Easter eggs and all the mysteries and stuff of that game, and it was really cool to see. Um, but what I was saying is I love collecting Nintendo games. So this right here was my original NES games. I have Super Nintendo, I have a Nintendo 64, everything under my bed because I didn't have enough space over here. And Fire Emblem is one of my favorite series in the game. Like I'm gonna zoom in right here, and I don't know if you're able to see a little bit better. I think so, but right here, this shelf is my Fire Emblem
Yeah.
shelf.
Yeah.
So you have like Celica.
Is that
This
Mars?
is you have this one right here is Marth. Yeah, Marth.
Marth. Sorry.
Ike, Corin. I have Roy, Robin, Lucina, Crom, Tiki, and another Crom. And that's just like a few of them. I have the GameCube version, which is one of my rarest GameCube games. That one is, loose is like about 150. Complete is like 300. I have the first ever copies that came out to the United States. So Fire Emblem 7, right? The seventh game in the series was the first ever game to come out in the United States. And I thought that was really sick. Like I'm really into the history of Fire Emblem for some reason. Like I could like go on a whole spiel on that. I don't want to bore you guys with the whole history or all the names of the game, but the seventh game in the series was the first one here in the United States. And since then, I have every single game that's came out here, and I actually have Fire Emblem 6, but it was translated from Japanese to English.
That's awesome. I mean, no. I mean, I yeah, don't ever yeah, you don't have to ever apologize for being enthusiastic about games, especially, since that's what, content creators we kind of primarily focus on. Um but yeah, I have a lot of older games too. I'm trying to think. I think that um probably one of the rare things that I have is the gold cartridge from Zelda Ocarina of Time. I got the special edition gold cartridge, which you might be able to find now. But I always tell people this. One of my gems that I have is I have the original Silent Hill, and there is a
Oh,
place called Half Price Bookstores. For those of you who have heard of it, they're all throughout the U.S. Um, and uh, I I went there. They had one in Indianapolis, and I went there with some friends, and they had a video game section. And I went there. I was like, wonder what they have through here. And a lot of the times, those places will overprice things tremendously.
true,
If
very true.
something's $100, it'll be 150. So I went through and I was looking, and I found a copy of the original Silent Hill I think it was a greatest hits collection. I don't know. I have to look, but and it was for $1. And I went up to the counter and I said, I was thinking of getting this. Can I? Because I thought there had to be something wrong with the CD. Maybe it was scratched up a little bit. Nope, perfectly fine. And I said, because I want to be honest about things like that. I said, I don't think this is $1. Like, I think that this is a little more than $1. And they said, well, that's what corporate has it priced at. I was like, all right, sold. And I think at the time, the greatest hits was even valued at like $125. So it
Whoa.
was crazy that they had that. But that was kind of one of, I guess, my proud, almost thrift store moments, if you will, to kind of find that. And it was
Wow.
it was really awesome. Um,
Um, that's crazy. Like for me, it's like if I ever find a deal with a game, like I'm a very honest person. But obviously, like this collection and everything under my bed, it adds up. It's extremely expensive. So if I ever get a deal like that, I take it and run. Oh, $1, but I don't even ask questions. And I actually had an instance like this happen very recently, and I'll show you guys because I'm assuming most of you guys here like Overwatch, right? Because is your community based more around Overwatch and stuff, or what would you say your community is
I've
based
met a lot
around?
of people through Overwatch, but as I've kind of gone away from Overwatch myself, um, which we could talk about because I think that you have a similar interest in doing, from what it sounds like. But um, my a lot of the people that I originally met coming to Twitch were from Overwatch. Yes, I would
Overwatch?
say about 60% of the people I know are from Overwatch exclusively. Um, but yeah, I've got a very great mixture now because, like I said, I've kind of got away from Overwatch in certain aspects, and for a time I was playing like Remnant from the Ashes exclusively, and so
Okay. Well, that makes sense, and I mean that's pretty cool. Branching out, being able to do more things is always good and helpful for a content creator, especially like in the state Overwatch has been in. You don't want to like sit there in a game who is not really giving us much content. I mean, I love the game. The reason I don't get bored with the game is because I want to get better at the game and I want to hit higher peaks and be known for being a really good Sigma because I do one trick Sigma. Um, but before we get into like Overwatch, I feel like it's gonna be a good chat for us. Let me show you one of my great finds. I went to a local video game store right recently, and when I say recently, within the last month, and they had this in stock. So they had the collector's edition for Overwatch, for the Xbox One, for retail price. For retail price. So I paid 120 for this, which is exactly retail price. The lady in the store said, the game this thing had been sitting there since she bought it. Because she says she gets a couple copies day of release, right? So and actually you can see the price right here, 129, 130. Sorry, she had it since day of release because no one bought this copy of it. So it was just sitting there collecting dust for like 4 or 5 years. She said she had never touched it. That's why this sticker looks so old and crusty. She said, and it was just sitting there, and she never changed the price or anything. So this is retail price. Well, this now is a little obviously a little bit more expensive. Not crazy amounts, but wait, when Overwatch 2 comes out, I think this bad boy here is gonna go up in price. But I don't plan on selling it or anything. I was thinking about doing like if I hit like a sub goal or something, like a decent sub goal, maybe opening it on stream, like an unboxing. But at the same time, it's like, dang, I kind of really like this sealed because it's never been opened, never. So I don't know if I would want to open it. Um, but I actually never played Overwatch on the Xbox, but I do have an Xbox One, as you can see here. I just never played Overwatch on it. But I played Overwatch obviously on PC. I started on the PS4, and I have it for the Nintendo Switch. So it's been a ride, but we could talk more about Overwatch a little bit later on. I know you probably have more questions you would like to ask, and I feel like I've spoken so much, and I do apologize a lot. That's one thing about me. I don't know why I like to explain myself a lot, and I like to apologize a lot. So that's a little bit about me. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all.
You're completely fine, buddy. I mean, it wouldn't be a good podcast if somebody wasn't talking. So no worries at all. Um, okay, well, I tell you what, we can get into that here in just a minute. I just drank a full energy drink. I'm gonna run use the restroom real quick, but I want to leave a question with you real quick so that you can talk to chat while I run use the restroom real quick.
Okay.
Something I do want to ask is, we always kind of lead into this. What got you into not necessarily content creation? We'll get to that in a second. What got you into Twitch?
Oh wow, that's a good question. Dang, you're gonna have to rewatch the VOD
No, no, I
because
will.
this one's pretty good. So does anybody here and and I got my chat up and I have Jan's chat up. So if anybody wants to say anything, I should be able to read it for both. Hello everybody. I hope you guys are having a great, fantastic day. And I hope you guys are enjoying what you guys are seeing so far. It is a pleasure to have you here watching me chat with Yanni. So I is really appreciated. It's the first time I ever do anything like this. Um, but um, so if you guys didn't know, has this week break been good for your mental health? It has. It really has. Today's the last day, and then I go back to Overwatch tomorrow. So for me, I started playing Overwatch season 12, right? On PS4, and around that time, like literally a couple of weeks after I started playing was when they had the first ever like challenge for Overwatch, which was a Nano Cola Diva. Do you guys remember that Nano Cola Diva? So I went and I was doing research and I really liked the skin and stuff, and then I realized there was some limited edition sprays you could get for the Nano Cola Diva challenge, right? But you had to watch streamers to do that. So I remember I pulled up the stream and I actually told this person in game two, I pulled up Kefri. If you guys know who Kefri is, I'm pretty sure most of you do. So Kefri was streaming for the Nano Cola Diva challenge, and if you watched him and you had everything linked, you would get the sprays and stuff. So I remember I put Kefri on, and I left him up there. I was doing my own thing, and it just the time was accumulating and stuff. I got all the sprays. Well, real quick, when I came over to PC, the first time I ever ran into Kefri, I was like, "Hey, Kev." I just want to say, it's a pleasure to meet you and all that. And that, Nano Cola Diva Challenge, you were the streamer that I watched to get all the sprays. And Calf was like, oh, that's awesome, I do. Well, thank you for telling me that. I'm glad Nano Cola actually helped me. And so that's what I sort of got it kind of interested in a little bit into Twitch. And then after that, I didn't use it much. Then I started playing PS4. Boom, 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 and I met a few content creators. One which you had on, which was Ricky Codcode. I'm actually on the same stream team as him, Common Champions. And I met Codcode on PS4. I remember the first time we ever played with each other was on Temple of Anubis. He was like ranked 20, and I had just hit like GM or top 500, right? And I was like, holy smokes, you're the highest ranking person I have ever played with. And Kako thought it was funny because he had multiple accounts. He was ranked one because at one point he had like 6, 7 accounts or 8 accounts, I think, ranked 1 through 10. You know what I'm saying? And I thought it was crazy cool. He was ranked 20. And then after that, I met another content creator called Warren. If you know who Warren is, Warren TV.
Right. So you like all the all the console content creators. Yeah, that's awesome.
And I remember the first time I played with Warren was also on Temple of Anubis, and he told me, "Hey man, I like you. You could call me Travis." I was like, "Okay." So I met Warren and Codcode on there, and I thought it was really cool. I didn't know they streamed or anything, and then I don't know how it came up that they streamed, and then I started watching them a little bit, and I thought it was pretty cool. And then I got the opportunity to duo with Warren on PS4, because Sigma was really meta at the time, and I've been a Sigma one trick. And so I was able to do it with Warren for like a couple hours. We had a good night. I thought it was really cool. And I kind of started getting interested in Twitch because I then realized they both streamed and stuff. So they were really big inspiration. So Warren and Code, they follow me on social medias and stuff, but I also have the pleasure of having them follow me on Twitch as well. And so I had like Code raid me before one time. It was amazing. And this was a couple months back. I was a little bit smarter then than I am now. But I also had Warren come into chat being like, "Hey, buddy, I believe in you. Keep doing you. You have potential. I see it in you. Keep pushing forward and doing you." And you know, and that really inspired me and stuff. And so like I do kind of owe getting into Twitch to them, and because I thought it was really cool. Aside from that though, real quick, I do want to say another two people who I think are really cool that actually follow me on Twitch and Twitter and stuff. I have Kefri follow me on Twitch and Twitter. I have J3 follow me on Twitch and Twitter, and then I have Red Shell follow me on Twitter. All because I was able to meet them through social, like the game and stuff. Also, Kristen Ray is another awesome person. She actually spoke well of me to Kefri, because I met her on, and I could remember some of the maps I met these people on. It's crazy. I met Kefri on Volskaya. I met Kristen Ray on Gibraltar. I met J3 on Blizzard World. That same game I met J3 or played against J3. I had Aquamarine on my that is. I played against Karki for the first time on Blizzard World. I met Six on Nepal. I met Bieber on Hollywood. And I don't know. I remember where I met all these people. It's so weird, but they're freaking awesome, right? It's really cool. And at first, I was like, "Oh my god, like starstruck," right? Because it was like, "Whoa, I just swapped from PS4 over." And it's like you're seeing all these big streamers, but now I'm a little bit more numb to it. You know, it's still really cool. Like I promise you guys, the day I run into Hard Blue is gonna be over because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play the game because Hard Blue is actually my favorite streamer, and I don't know why. Um, if I had to say, if I have to say though, you know, I found out about car code because of Fresh Nuts and Noob Hunter and stuff, which I could go into a story about that as well. And he always had, and I like to call it the greasy looking camera, right? Back then he had a greasy looking camera. I don't know how to explain it. The quality was really bad. But then I realized that this guy was a monster at Roadhog. And then I started looking through his videos, and then I saw a stream where his dad came in and was telling a story about how he worked for like the president, like a bodyguard or secret service or something of that nature. And I watched that stream and I cried, or that YouTube video, and I cried pretty hard. And I think ever since that day, like Hard Blue has become one of my favorite content creators. And so I want to run into him in game and tell him, "Hey man, what I just told you guys," and be like, "Listen, you have achieved great fucking things. And you know, I know it's been a while now, but I want to tell you that I bet you, like, your dad is so fucking proud of you. Keep doing you, keep killing it because you are fucking amazing and you have done great things." And Harbler's just amazing. He's like one of those, like, oh, I really want to run into him. But, you know, I'm going off on a tangent. But ultimately, you know, seeing Warren and Cod Code do streaming, it kind of got me interested into it. And then when I found out or started realizing that I could stream and show people love, good energy, and positive vibes, it's like, whoa, that is awesome. That is awesome. And so and that's just kind of how what I want to do, and you know, and you know, yeah, and spread love. There we go. There we go.
Now, you mentioned two things really interesting, and we'll kind of take them point by point. One of the things that you mentioned is, you know, as time has gone on, you've become more accustomed to seeing various bigger streamers in your games, and I think probably more familiar with them. And I don't know if any of them are on your friends list, if you duoed with any of them. But I think one of the things that's kind of interesting about this has this been more of an exposure, like as you've gotten more exposed to it, it's just become a common thing, or has it become more of a, do you think, like a confidence boost that, oh, okay, not only can I, you know, I can be in the same game as these people, but I can perform, you know, well enough to play in their games.
Okay, so wow, that's a really good question. So I would like to start off by saying, so obviously I came from PS4. I played PS4 season 12, so about season 23. Then season 24, like the end of season 24, was my first season on a PC. So I was top 500. I actually placed in silver my first season. Like I placed in silver, but quickly got to plat. And then my second season in Overwatch, I hit diamond. And then I was diamond for a while, then hit masters. I was a diva one trick. I didn't want to.
Okay.
I'll get to. Is it alright if I do something real quick?
Sure.
Remember when they knocked on my door earlier? There's something I need to do real fast. I'm gonna run and do it real quick. It should be like no longer than 5 minutes.
Okay.
But I'm gonna be right back. I do apologize. Something I have to do real quick.
Oh, you're fine.
1 second, everybody.
So while we are waiting on Pavel to come back, I hope I pronounced that right. My goal for this entire interview is to end up make sure I pronounce his name correct. But while he is taking a minute, just a reminder, next week, our upcoming two guests, it would probably help if I actually turned my hand so that you saw that I was holding up a two. On Saturday, the 19th at 8 p.m., we are going to have Fails and Luck. If you all haven't had a chance to meet Fails and Luck, he is a super awesome dude. Got to meet him through it was through Overwatch, but I'm trying to remember whose channel he came from or whose community. But he's been a really awesome person. He's a musician. He streams a lot, playing his guitar, doing Stales yeah, doing musical improv, and he's a really really great guy and very entertaining. So that'll be fun. And then on the 18th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is going to be, if I remember correctly, 12 p.m. her time the next day, the 19th. We're gonna have on the 18th. We're gonna have on Baby Poro. She is primarily a variety streamer now, but she was an Overwatch contenders player for an Australian team for support. She's a really cool person, really sweet, you know, and again does a lot of variety now, just chatting World of Warcraft, RuneScape, and yeah, it'll be very interesting to talk to her. Another partnered streamer. I've been very blessed to be able to get so many partnered streamers on the channel, as well as everybody even who's not partnered. It's just been an awesome experience to have all these people come on and talk, and I feel that every single person that's come on has had a unique story to tell, and more importantly, I feel and I hope this is true, that the stories have been relatable and helped others develop their desire, their confidence as a content creator, knowing where people kind of start out and where people currently are. So, um, let's see here. Catch up on chat while we're waiting. I played drums over a year now. Well, that's awesome, buddy. How long have you been playing? I assume that's to mean OW. Um, I don't know if that question was for me or for Pavel, but for those of you again asking questions at the end of the interview or towards the end of the interview, we'll have a 10 to 15 minute um, Q&A segment where you all can ask, um, the streamer or well, the guest streamer, I should say, not me, the guest streamer. You can ask them, the questions that you want to. So we'll save that for end. So if you do have questions, try to keep it in mind. And I'll try to scroll back up if somebody isn't able to stay for the next bit of time, because we might go for another hour. I let the guests kind of determine that. But we will. When we get to that point, if there was a question asked earlier on, I'll try to scroll back up and catch it if I can. OW, I meant it for you. So I played OW. I'm trying to remember when I started. Season 8, I believe it was. Season 7 or 8 is when I started. So I've been playing it for um, a little over 3 years now, I think. Um, Maybe longer. Trying to remember. I don't know, but I think it was season 8. I'd have to look it up, but I remember distinctly. I think Arissa had just come out. I think Arissa had just come out when I started. Um, definitely wasn't Ana. I'd been playing when I was playing when Moira came out, when Brig came out. Yeah, I think Orisa. I think Orisa was the new hero that had come out when I started playing. But I started out on PlayStation as well. How long have you been doing Twitch? So I started Twitch not this past October, but the October before. Anna, Sombra, Orisa. Okay, so it was Orisa. Because I remember seeing the Sombra trailer, but I wasn't playing at that time. But yeah, it was like October of 2019, I think is when I started streaming. So, and my goal is to try to do this professionally. And how many streamers have you done a podcast with? Currently, this will be number 55. So, let me grab a water quick. So, I have had on Mushu, Hollyworld, Unsalted Salt. Um, I've had on. Oh, welcome back, buddy. I've had on.
Hi.
Um, I've been very blessed that people have really been excited about the podcast and taken to it. But yeah, Mr. Pavel here is yeah number 55.
55. Wow.
So, and like I said, I try to keep the focus on the guests, but exclamation point YouTube to get a link to the YouTube channel, and you can find up some of the. I think I've put up like 25 so far of the podcast, but you can find the ones with Mushu up there, Holly Whirl, um, various other streamers that I've had up to. Like I said, it's been a blessing to have everybody that's been willing to come on. And I'm still uploading the mods from this past year. So, um, but yeah, if you want to check that out, again, exclamation point YouTube, and you can find all the, sorry, you could find some of, not all of, because I'm still uploading. And you can find some of the past podcasts. Like I said, I think there's at least 25 up there. So,
Okay. Do you think we're good to continue, or if you need a moment to
nope, nope.
continue what you're sharing, we're
We,
good.
no, we,
So like I was saying, so I one trick diva, and then I hit masters. After I hit masters, I was back to diamond and stuff, and I didn't play as consistently or as hard. And then two roll Q 222 came out, and Sigma was introduced. And then after a couple nerfs, I think one or two nerfs is after like the second nerf. I think after you could hook Sigma through his kinetic grasp. That's when I started picking him up, and from that point forward, I was able to hit masters. I went from like diamond to like masters, and then from masters to like GM top 500, like just like that because of Sigma being introduced and stuff like that. So when I was top 500 on PS4, I don't think I really made many friends I met a couple people, obviously, like I mentioned before, but I didn't really make any friends. And then some stuff happened. I got kicked out the house by my mom's current boyfriend. And so there were some things that happened. I didn't have a PS4, so I actually started streaming in like February. So I streamed in February and March. I got kicked out by the end of March. So April 4th was the last day like I left. I lived with my mom and I left. So that's also the last day I saw my mom, April 4th of 2020. So it's been over a year now. And then I didn't stream from April. I stream a couple times here and there. But then in September of 2020, so it hasn't even been a year, it's when I picked up again, and I've been consistent since. But right there, during that time period, I didn't stream, and that's when I moved in with my best friend's parents and stuff. And then when I got back into Overwatch, I played on the PS4. I was able to maintain my top 500 status and stuff. But when I swapped to PC, I was expecting to be top 500 too, because I heard people say it transfer over this and that. And the answer is it does not. The only thing that transfers over is game sense. So like, oh, okay, they did a certain amount of damage. You're gonna have set ult and set ult, right? But this device right here, the mouse and keyboard is completely different. I have no prior mouse and keyboard experience before, zero. And so it was hard. So I was expecting to be top 500 right away, but it did not happen that way. And it was pretty hard on like the mental. It's like, dang, am I bad at this game? But then it took me playing about 3 to 4 months every day for a couple hours a day to get used to mouse and keyboard and stuff. And then I was able to go from my first season in PC being 3,300, my second season being 36, and then my third season hitting 4,200 top 500. Um, it was a little bit rough at first. So I met a couple of people when I still hadn't hit top 500, right? Like six and our gay and stuff. But then when I hit, top GM, I felt a little bit more confident and stuff. But it was still like whenever I would play with these people, I would still get very anxious. I think it was more as of recently where I became a little bit more numb to it and stuff. And the reason I became more numb is a combination of okay, running into them enough, and also just being a little bit more confident in my skill and how I play the game, if that makes sense. Now you did ask me, I don't know if you do it with any of these people. So I actually ran into J3 about 2 weeks ago on Busan, and we were on the same team. And after the match, there was some stuff that happened throughout the match. I'm not gonna get into too much detail, but after the match, he asked me to duo, so I duoed with J3. I asked him if I could send him a friend request. He said yes. After we finished playing, he rated me. His people showed a lot of love, like a lot of love. A bunch of people followed. A bunch of people came back. Like, I decided to just stream it as well because I to start every day at 7. But since I was gonna be late, I was like, I might as well just stream it. Like, there's one person in chat who came back who's actually came because of that J3 raid, and there's a bunch of others that stopped by because of that raid. Did it blow me up, make me famous? No, I feel like raids don't make you like I got in raid by Carefree before, right? And one person, maybe two people came back a couple of times and I never seen them again, right? With J3 it was a little different because I actually got to duel with him and people saw how I was like with my voice chat, like communicating with my teammates and how I was as a person because I'm very positive and very vocal. So like, even if we lose or like, and I always say this and stuff, be like, yo guys, listen, the game is not over until that timer runs out. There is still time. This game is still very winnable. I would say stuff like that or stuff like, hey, we could still win this. We got this. Or hey, support's good stuff, good heals, good this, good that. And people in Jay's chat saw that and they were like, oh my God, you're so nice. You're so wholesome. So when he raided, a bunch of people stuck around because they kind of got a glimpse of my personality through the voice chat. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As opposed to like if you never played with this person and then they just raid you, they don't know who you are. They don't see you, right? They just leave right away. But if you're playing with their favorite streamer and they get to see a glimpse of who you are, then I've noticed more people came back because of that, as opposed to when McCaffrey raided me, we had never played together. He just raided, people did follow, but then they left right away and never came back. With Jay, it was a little different. But I was able to do it with J3 twice. And the first night, like I said, I asked him if I got him as a friend. I did. A couple nights after that, I asked him if we could duo. He said yes. And so I've been able to play with J3 twice. And I actually, the first night, I asked him for a little advice and asked him a couple questions. And he told me being consistent was a really good thing. So after that day is when I started streaming every day at 7 p.m. EST. It has its pros and cons, but for the most part, I've noticed that people know when I'm gonna be there, so they're already like expecting me, and so like some people are already there before I even start. They already sent a message in chat or something, and so I noticed that's been good. And he told me YouTube it goes hands in hand. Like you could bring some of your YouTube audience, so trying to grow a YouTube is also important and stuff. But since the day I played with Jay, I feel like I've done better in terms of streams and stuff. Um, and it could be if I'm being honest because of if I'm being honest, it's because of the exposure he gave me because he also put 2 YouTube videos up on his YouTube channel while doing with me, like me on his team, and I had a couple people come in saying, oh snap, I saw you in J3 YouTube video, I just thought I'd check you out.
That's awesome. Well, that's really awesome that some of these bigger content creators have gone out of their way to help you and other smaller content creators because, I mean, as I've said before, no person is an island, and it never helps to network. And even for bigger streamers, I think sometimes, and not the people that you've mentioned, especially not J3. I mean, I saw J3 in a friend's chat the other day, and he was J3 just randomly showed up to his chat and said that he was going to different streamers' chats while he was taking a day off, and he just showed up to smaller streamers' chats and was just hanging out and talking and you know shooting the crap as they say, and just having fun, just being a viewer, and
Right.
it was a lot of fun for a lot of people. Um, but I think a lot of bigger streamers, um, sometimes they think, well, what value can I get out of rating or doing or whatever with a smaller streamer? And I always say that it's an amazing way to, not only is it great to meet, because I mean the amount of viewers somebody has is no reflection of them as a person or their character, and you might
Right.
meet a great person, that you otherwise might not have met if you didn't, go to their channel or something or talk to them in game. But on top of that, it really helps to engender, a feeling of sincerity and loyalty within the community to, for smaller streamers and viewers and stuff to say, oh, they do notice us, you know, they do enjoy us chat. Whereas if you're just completely, I've said this before, I would love to do this for a living, but at the same time, I don't know that I would ever. Now, if it happens, it happens. I'm not gonna complain if it does. But I don't know that I could ever do like be a 10,000 viewer streamer because it seems like it would be so lonely. Chat would be moving a million miles an hour, and you'd never be able to keep up. You'd never, aside from mods and some VIPs maybe that you'd see routinely, you'd never know that you were seeing the same people. It'd be hard to keep up with that many different going ons in people's lives, and I think that it's very feasible to keep up with a community of, you'd have to put effort into it obviously, but I think it's very feasible to keep up with a community of, 200, 300, which would be awesome. Don't get me wrong, that'd be amazing. But it just seems like once you get to a certain point, it's just as lonely at the top as it is the bottom, right? There might be a financial, uh, well, not might be, there is a financial difference, but a zero viewer streamer versus a 25,000 viewer streamer has the almost the exact same interaction on an individual basis, in my opinion.
That's what you're saying is a very good point. So I think so. First of all, what I would like to say is, believing in oneself is part of the battle. So I mean, if you want to be a thousand viewer Andy is what people say. I think then if you believe in it and you really want it, you'll work hard for it and you will be able to achieve it. I'm not saying it'll happen tomorrow, but anything is possible if you believe. But like I said, half of the battle is believing in yourself. Um, I think yes, I agree. Like it is hard to keep up with chat. Even like when you get a raid of a couple people and everybody sending messages, it is hard to keep up with it. Um, but I feel like that's why you would want to interact with your community in different ways. You know what I'm saying? First of all, you want to try to hopefully have a good group of friends, like in real life friends. You know what I'm saying? So you could talk to these people, interact with these people. Could these people be from stream that you met when you were smaller? Yes. You know what I'm saying? But you want to have that good group of friends who are there so you don't get lonely, right? But also when it comes to chat, doing things like movie nights, doing things like community nights, doing things where you're not so hard focused on the game. Because when you're playing Overwatch, for example, and you're in the middle of that team fight, you're SR's on the line, and you're in overtime. You're not gonna be reading, oh hey, what's up, Billy? How you doing? Good day. Oh, they shot Grav. Oh snap, I missed it. No, right? But if you like take a day and do just chatting, or if you take a day and you do like a movie night in your server, or you do something, or you do like a meet and greet somewhere, even though you're not gonna be able to talk and remember every single body, you got to interact with these people. And at the end of the day, it matters what your goals are. But for me, let's say I got to 1,000 viewers a day, right? I would love to do a meet and greet so I could go and take a picture with these people and make that person's day a little better. Oh my God, I met Pavel. Like how people get excited when they meet their favorite YouTubers, streamers, and stuff. Like if I met Heartblue, that'd be insane. Just by meeting him, having a chance to talk to him, taking a picture with him, for example, would be so much to carry me over. You know what I'm saying? Um, and I feel like yes, the streamer's health is important, and getting to know the stream is good. But when you get bigger, that is harder. But just doing small things like that could just make your viewers so happy, and sometimes that's all they want. Because it is impossible even in our day-to-day lives. Like it's better to have a few good real friends than a bunch of fake friends. And if these people are supporting you on stream, it's because they're supporting you for you. You know what I'm saying? Either you're good at the game, they like who you are, or something. But you can't. It's impossible to be friends with 1,000 people,
Right.
even if those 1,000 people are in IRL people. You know what I'm saying? I think on a day-to-day basis, a person probably really interacts with like 50 to 100 in real life people. Obviously, right now, COVID-19, that's not a thing, but that's what I'm thinking. Like in school, high school, with work and stuff, I don't think you interact with more than 200 people a day. And so that's what I think, at least.
No,
But
and kind of going
everything,
off of that with COVID, because I think this is a very important point that I wanna touch on before I forget. I think now more than ever, it's becoming more and more acceptable to make those friendships online. Even
yes.
3 years ago, there was still a stigma. Um, God bless her heart. My mom, you'll see I have the Mama Yawn hype emotes. That's actually my mom. Uh, she when I came to Twitch and all that stuff for the first time, and I was talking about playing games with these people, I remember, and you have to understand, but for those of you who don't know, my mother is 70 years old, right? This is something to where it's a concept that's just you didn't, unless you went to the the diner to get a milkshake with your friends back in like the 1960s. Like this is not this is not, she doesn't understand necessarily about meeting people online, all that stuff. And she was like, now how do you know that these are real people? I was like, I talked to them. Like she wasn't even like, how do you know who they are, who they say they are? She was just like, how do you know that they're real people? I was like, they're not robots. um but I think for a lot of people, um it has become more of a necessity. Not even, taking it even a step further. I don't even know if acceptable, um, but more of a necessity to have somewhere to turn other than just even the day to day. Have people that are online who you might not be because, you know, and I'm not even saying that this is always a terrible thing, but when you have, you know, friendships formed with people at work, what do you often talk about? Work, right? When you have friendships with people at school, what do you often talk about? School. When you have friendships with people that you meet through certain activities, being in a band. I was in an anime club at college. What do you talk about? All the But if you want to get away from those, right? Because a lot of times that's the commonality, and that's not a bad thing. That's the interest that drew you all together. And obviously, that interest is what helps perpetuate a friendship, which is not a bad thing. I mean, you have to be friends with people you have common interest in, or with. But going online and meeting so many people with so many different backgrounds, I think has only been beneficial to me. I can't speak for everybody else, but I feel it's been awesome because, here I get to meet and interview and talk with somebody that came from Uruguay and, traveled and has had all these life experiences and who enjoys old school games. And I would not have gotten that opportunity had I have just stayed in, the confines of my bubble around, when I lived in Indianapolis and stuff. So I think, this is an opportunity for a lot of people who might have been worried about taking that leap of faith to be a part of a community and all that. I think if there is, um, and I know that the phrasing of this might seem controversial, but if there is a blessing, if there is a positive side to the pandemic, it's that there shouldn't be the inhibitions anymore of going online and talking with people, because it's not only become a necessity, but it's become a, a mainstay of social life for most people. And I think that's awesome. You know.
I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. You made me think though. When you stream on Twitch, right? Everybody has different different things they like and things of that nature. But if they're in your chat, right? Let's say you have 300 viewers, and all
Mhm.
300 of those viewers are in your chat. They're in your chat, like I said earlier, because they have an interest in you. So that means all 300 people have one common interest right off the bat. They like you, you know. So the people in chat, could then talk and chat with each other and make friends or get to know each other just because they have a common interest in a streamer. So one thing I've noticed real quick about J3 is he has a Minecraft server. A lot of his viewers in chat go into his Minecraft server and then join his Discord and talk in the Discord voice chat and interact with each other. And even though J3 might not read their message, they still made friends or friendships or still met people because of J3. And they have that to be thankful for.
Well, and that's why that actually perfectly summarizes what I've said before is one of my main goals is to create a place where people can meet each other, because at some point I don't want the focus to be on me, the streamer. If anything ever I'm not trying to be negative, but if anything ever happens to me, if I couldn't stream anymore, um, if my computer breaks or I become sick or something, can't do this, I don't want the community to die simply because I couldn't be there.
Right.
And and I think it would be awesome to know that these friendships and stuff carried through, um, this, in spite of whatever I was doing.
Right.
So
You want to be a part of your community. You don't want to be the community.
right, exactly. Yeah, I want to be the catalyst for people meeting. I don't want to be like, only because you could tell. We won't name any names, but I'm sure you know it and you've experienced it, as many of us have. There are definitely those communities where the people are only interested in the streamer and they are very isolated. And if you go into the community and try to talk, try to make conversation with people in chat, they have no interest. The only person they want to make conversation with is the
It's
streamer.
the streamer.
And when I see those communities, I run. I'm going to be completely honest. I have no interest in doing that because, I mean, granted, I would not be a part of a community that had a great community and a bad streamer, because they are in a, um, symbiotic relationship. I mean, the streamer and the community are both reflections of each other. So I don't think it'd
It's
be
true.
possible to have a good community and a bad streamer. But if that were to happen, I couldn't be a part of a community where I liked people in the community, but I didn't care for the streamer. Um, the inverse of that, of course, is even if I like the streamer, I can't really be a part of a community where people just have all their doors shut. It makes it too
Right.
difficult. And there's so many options on Twitch, and this kind of goes into content creation, all right? Because we want that to be the kind of the focal point of the podcast, and I definitely want to let people know this, and I'm giving my opinion, but I definitely want yours, as well. If you're a streamer and you start to notice that, you might want to reevaluate, because I feel like that is a quick way to stagnation. That is a quick way for your community. Oh, you might skyrocket to a certain point, but then it's going to plateau, right? It might be going up, and then it's just going to, you know, plateau, because people are not going to feel welcome. And I think growth in new people is what keeps the stream going, because I've had this experience and it's unfortunate. And I do miss those people. When I played Remnant from the Ashes, a lot of the people that came for that game, once I stopped playing that game, and I didn't really have a choice. The game finished up. There wasn't really any more content to it. It was done. But once I stopped playing that game, a lot of those people left. They had no interest in the other games, right? But there were some people that stayed, but a lot of them did leave. So you're going to have people coming and going within your community, and I feel like the doors always need to be open for more people to come in, you know, not just a one way, you know, an exit only, if you will,
Right.
you know. So, I mean, what are your thoughts
On
on
that.
yeah,
I agree. So I actually like so I'll say I'm a moderator for one of my friends of my friends, right? He's a really cool dude. I would recommend you would have to watch him and get your opinion. I think he's a good person. And he puts on a good show. So I would recommend him. We could talk about that later, but I'm a moderator for him. So when someone follows, and I try to tell this to like the people in my stream too, I'm like, hey guys, when you see someone new, say hey, talk to them, get you to know the person, talk to them. Like I even sometimes people come in and like they play a certain game, or they like say to someone, I know this person I play the game with, they like playing snipers. I have a couple people in chat that like snipers, so I'm like, oh hey, welcome, I bet you would be good friends with so and so in chat because they like snipers just like you do. Like I try to throw them in, like not throw them, but I try to be like, hey guys, look, you guys have some common interests, chat with each other, get to know each other. Or I try to tell my mods, I don't have many mods, but when they're there, like, hey, when you see someone come in, welcome them, talk to them, get to know them. When I'm in my buddy's chat moderating, right? Somebody comes in, hey, so and so, how are you doing? I'm doing good. How are you? I'm doing great. Welcome to the stream. How did you find my buddy, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, I found him this way, that way. Oh, that is freaking awesome. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for supporting my buddy and stopping by. It is a pleasure to have you here today. Bam. Those are like, as soon as someone comes in, I almost always do those interactions with them, And I had people in the past on his stream tell me, dang, you just made this so welcoming. Thank you so much. I'm like, hey, it's no problem. It's what I'm here for. He said, you know what? I'm going to come back just because you were that kind, just because you were that welcoming to it. And I was like, hey, man, it would be a pleasure to have you here every single day. Thank you so much. And hey, like I said, it's what I'm here for and stuff. So, yeah. And that's what I try to tell like the people in my chat. If you guys, when someone new comes in, if you make them feel welcome, right? Then they're more likely to come back. And if they come back, then they could bring a friend. Be like, hey, buddy, look, I went into this stream, and they were so freaking welcoming. Like they were so freaking nice and kind and stuff. Like I just love that. It's like so unique, so different, and. Come check them out with me today. I know they go live, and if you're consistent, they could be like, they go live every day at 7 p.m. EST. I'll see you there, bud. They come in, you welcome them, bam, another person join it, and that could just keep going. I'm not saying it's always gonna be that way, but at least if every person that comes back is a good thing. And making sure you make someone feel welcome goes a really long way, and it leaves an impression, I feel. So I always tell people, hey, welcome, 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 welcome. And I do agree that the stream is like a representation of the streamer. If the streamer is good, the chat is usually really good. If the chat is good, the streamer being bad, um is like weird. Like you could have a good chat with a bad streamer, but it's just weird. Like I feel like that could only happen if like the streamer went through some controversy, but he also kept the following because the people are able to not associate what he's done with the content he's producing. Examples, I'm not trying to get controversial here, but supposedly some people love R. Kelly. He's supposedly, I don't know nothing about R. Kelly. That's all I'm saying. Supposedly, I'm not saying I support him or don't. I don't know nothing about him, but supposedly he did bad things, but people still love his music. They say the same thing about Michael Jackson. Supposedly he did bad things, people still listen to his music. So maybe with a streamer, if he's done something bad, maybe they still like watching his content, even though he did bad stuff. But I do agree that I wouldn't necessarily watch a streamer if his community was bad, unless, like, let's say they're a one trick. Let's say they're the best Zarya one trick or the best Zarya player in the game, and their community is trash. And I would go in. I wouldn't even read chat, and I would just focus on watching him play. But I would focus on how he is playing, so that I could improve or maybe learn some things rather than being a part of his community, if that makes sense. But I guess by watching, you're part of the community, but not like so integrated or so a part of it as others. And another thing I try to tell the people in my chat is when I'm playing Overwatch, when somebody comes in and I'm in the middle of a team fight and they ask me a question, if chat could answer it for me, it relieves some pressure off my shoulders. Because I don't have to be like, hey, buddy, yeah, hold on, give me 1 second, and then the chat go on, and I forget the question, or me trying to be like, oh yeah, I started playing Overwatch season. Oh wait, they shot grab. Wait. Season. Oh, what was I saying? Season 3, and then you're playing terribly in game. So if chat could answer questions for me, and like keep like the conversation going is really helpful to me as the streamer and for also the person who stopped by is what I think.
Well, I completely agree. I think that that is, and that's where I think that a lot of smaller streamers don't understand the blessing of being a smaller streamer, right? I think a lot of them want to focus on the struggle of having two or three viewers in chat for a while and not realizing that not only do most people start out that way, right? Unless you're a big YouTuber coming to Twitch and you've already got a
Right.
20 million following or something like that, but it allows you to slowly integrate yourself into what you want your community to be, who you want to be, looking for great mods, great VIPs, and really kind of taking things step by step instead of having to make all of these decisions at once.
Right.
And I think that a lot of people need to, maybe, and I'm not trying to be, harsh here, but maybe take a step back just for a second and, count the blessings. Now, if you've still been at three viewers for 4 years, I understand how that would get frustrating. But, starting out, take that opportunity as a smaller streamer to really sit down and say and write down, a lot of stuff, write it down. What I want my community to be, what I want the focal point to be. This is what I would expect from the people in my community, and not in a
Demanding
yeah,
way.
yeah, demanding or commanding way. Because there was a person on Twitter, and I couldn't even tell you their name if I wanted to because I don't remember. And I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but they really weren't worth remembering with how rude they were with this. But they literally demanded that if you wanted to um, be certain roles in their Discord and stuff, you had to be there like at least they streamed like 8 hours a day. And you had to be there at least 20 hours a week or something like that.
Right.
And that is just that's completely like not lurking, active 20 hours,
Right.
right? So essentially 3 days a week you'd have to be active for almost the entire stream. That's another
Right.
job.
Right.
you know,
I mean,
that's you know that is I think completely uh ass backwards. I mean, you don't if you're having to command people to be active in your chat, people should want to be active in your chat.
no, right, and I agree. I think so. For me though, I have done something similar to that, but in this way, people come in and ask me, "How can I be mod? How can I be mod? How can I be mod?" And I tell them I would like for a mod to be someone who I see every day,
Right.
and like someone who's active and is here every single day. But that's because it's a mod, because I want one. I need to get to know the mod, here, see how they interact with other people that come by and stuff, you know and someone who I know, like, and I'm not saying be there every single stream, no, because once they become mods, I have mods that haven't been there in a couple of weeks because one is busy with school, one's PC broke and stuff. But like to get to a mod, I feel like I gotta get to know you and see that you have good intentions with me,
Mhm.
and you don't want to be mod just like maybe ban a bunch of people or try to get like some sort of advantage or something over the other people. You see what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
The
that's the
sword
only
has gotten to
reason
their
why.
head.
Right. So that's the only reason why I would be like, hey, if you want to be a mod, when people come in, be active. Because if you tell that, then people are gonna be like, if they really want to be a mod, then they'll be active or they'll be there not every single day, but pretty often. And those people who wanted mod to be trolls and stuff like that, I'd be like, dang, I can't get mod here. Let me go try on another stream or something. Would just leave. And I
Right.
like I said, I prefer having more what is this word? I prefer having real people, authentic people, and having authentic mods rather than somebody who just wanted to be mod or not good people be there. I pride myself. You see, we're the Snell gang is what I called my community, the Snell gang. And we're a community of love. That word love means so much to me. As long as also here on my desk have this coin. It is it's called the peace dollar. It's from 1921. 24. This one's 24. Yeah. It's the peace dollar. Right here at the bottom of the eagle's feet, you might not be able to see it, but it says peace. And I keep this on my desk to remind myself, peace. I want to bring peace and I want to bring love to Overwatch and my community and stuff like that. And I want a good, authentic people to be there with me to help put that out there rather than someone that's fake. You know what I'm saying? But I would never demand anybody. Like, obviously, I have like the channel points thing. If you get a certain amount of channel points, then you could redeem VIP. Um, or unless you do something, you go above and beyond, then I'll VIP you that way. But those are the only two instances where, like, if you want a certain role, but that's in Twitch. Now on my Discord, if you sub, you get the sub. If you like help me with something, you could get like a helper role
Yep.
or like some sort of thing. But I never demand people. Oh, you have to be here 8 hours a day, 24/7, every single day to be get the role of a friend in the Discord. No, that's ridiculous. I never demand stuff of people. Like, I'll ask though, like when someone new comes in, I give them a spiel. I'm like, hey, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? It's a pleasure to have you here. And it is a pleasure to have new people stop by. And that's real. And then I'd be like, hey, thank you so much for stopping by. And then I always do this, and this is something I do. I try to hit them with a quote, and there's a quote that I really like that I tell people in chat, and it's a command. I tell them, listen, if you never come back, that's fine, but let me tell you something that I want you to take with you for the rest of your life. Your attitude determines your altitude. So keep a positive mind, focus on what's important to you, and you'll be able to achieve anything. And I feel like by doing that, I leave an impression on that person, and then there's a higher chance of them coming back because of that impression. But that's just something I do. Also, whenever everybody comes by, and I was gonna do it for my chat loves when I do this. I'll show your chat it. When someone new stops by, comments, follow, when subscribes, follows, donates, or something, I always do this. And let me, I'm like, hey, thank you so much. Or I could do it with you. Hey, Yanni, thank you so much for having me today. As a special thank you for having me, I'm gonna show you something special. This is just for you, bud. Look at this. Ba 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 bam. Sigma's toe.
That's awesome. Wait, did you draw that?
No, I did not commission somebody to
Oh,
make
okay.
that. And I show them Sigma's toes, and everybody loves Sigma's toes. Everybody
There.
loves Sigma's toes, you know. And that's the thing in my chat. Like, it's to the point now that I'm gonna have to get a emote artist to make a Sigma's toes emotes so they could spam it when someone new comes in. And I got the inspiration from that from somebody else who's actually a pretty good. He's a content creator. He's not small. By small, I mean he's more than 20 viewers average, but he's also not huge. I think he has 30 to 40, maybe 50. And when somebody comes in, he always gives like a little like, "Hey, welcome the guy," and he says something, and that kind of inspired me to Sigma's toes and stuff. And that's something I do. And making these impressions, because first impressions go a long way. It makes a really big impact in somebody I feel coming back. And I have people say, "Oh, I'm gonna be honest with you. I came back only because of Sigma's toes. If I'm being honest with you, I love Sigma's toes." So
I'm gonna get you to make an account called Toe Picks. Um, um,
in the works, chat, in the works.
just a, yeah, just was it the private Twitter where it's just all Sigma's feet for different angles. Like look at these
Imagine.
awesome like if there was a way to do like play of the game, but to just focus on his feet throughout play of the game, like because the old Torb montages where it was just Torb died, and then in the kill feed you see his turret killing everything, right? So
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That
just
is
Sigma
true.
get a huge ult and you miss all of it because the camera's zoomed in on his feet.
None toes. Okay,
Um,
perfect. I like that.
but yeah, I think, and I also want to point this out. I always found it funny too that in pro wrestling, for people that are familiar at all, and I am going somewhere with this. I'm just talking about pro wrestling. There's the two types of characters are the villains and the heroes, right? But they name them. The heroes are named baby faces. Oftentimes they were named this because um, back in the day they were very clean cut. They weren't allowed to have like facial hair or really any of this stuff because they were to appeal. They had a lot of women fans and all this stuff. They wanted very clean cut. very Boy Scout, very next door. So clean shaven, baby face. The opposite of that was the heels, and they were often called that because they would try to get them to be as rugged as possible, look like the heel end, if you will. The rough. If you ever look at your heel, it's all rough and cracked for most people, and that's what they were called, the heels. But it's always funny that Sigma in the lore of Overwatch is a villain, and he doesn't wear shoes, and you're always seeing. As the tank, all the players are seeing his back. They're seeing the heels and all that stuff. They're not even seeing the toes. They're seeing the heels. I always thought that was funny.
Well, I don't know if you heard this, but the reason why Sigma doesn't wear shoes in most of his skins, he only has 3 skins to date, right? That he has shoes in, which is with the one that I always use actually is Talon. Okay,
Okay.
so the red face, Mistro, the one where he's the musician.
Okay.
If you ever seen that one, and carbon fiber. Those are the only 3 skins Sigma has his toes, and every other shoes on, and every other skin his feet are out. They said the reason why they wanted his feet out is because if you watch his origin story, Sigma ends up in the mental institution after his experiment with gravity goes wrong, and in mental institutions they don't give people shoes because they don't want them to like get the laces and
Yeah.
and so um they said they wanted to give the character a more realistic feel of like the fact that he was in the institution and that's why he doesn't have shoes on. And they actually a Blizzard official said this in one of the forums. So there was a video made about it 'cause there was a little bit of controversy shortly after Sigma came out. And they said they were gonna make more skins with shoes on, which after the interview and all that stuff, a couple months later you had Mistro and then you had Carbon Fiber. But most of his skins have no shoes.
Okay. Well, I now know what 3 skins I would never use. Toes only. Toes only. Um. So let's kind of since we're talking about Sigma now, I think now's a good time to segue into it. What got you into playing Sigma only?
Oh wow, I always like talking about this because I started, like I said earlier, I started playing season 12, and Sigma came out season like 17, right? Since I started playing so late into the game, characters that had been there since the start of the game, like Zarya, Reinhardt, all these heroes that had been there from the start, people had more time on them than I will ever have. You know what I'm saying? So like, if I play against a Zarya who's been playing Zarya since day one, naturally, according to just how things should be, that Zarya should be way better than me. At least, and if not in lower ranks, as soon as you get to the higher ranks, yes, a Zarya who plays Zarya only 24/7 since launch in GM is always going to be better than a kid who started Zarya season 2015 and has like 100 hours on her. You know what I'm saying? So when Sigma came out, Sigma was fresh for everybody. Fresh for everybody. Everybody had the same amount of Sigma, same amount of time on Sigma. And so I picked him up and I was like, okay, since I'm starting Sigma at the same time as everybody else, maybe I have a good opportunity to be as good, if not better than others, because maybe others are going to focus on their heroes and not spend as much time getting to know Sigma as I will. And so when I did that, like something with me and Sigma just like clicked, and it's like, yeah, I feel myself like, see, I feel like Sigma really did change my life in terms of Overwatch and stuff, because if without Sigma I don't think maybe I would reach as far as I've reached. And so I'm very thankful for the character, even though it's not a real thing. The fact that it was made, I appreciate. But then I started noticing that I was doing good with Sigma, and I kept going, going, going. I hit, like I said, Masters by myself, GM, top 500, multiple seasons, and I was able to recreate that on PC, Diamond, Masters, top 500, then Grandmasters. Right now, I'm actually at the lowest. I lost a lot of SR because Sigma's not meta, and I'm on a 7-day break. Today's my 7th day without playing Overwatch.
Hmm.
So tomorrow I go back to streaming Overwatch again, which I'm really excited about, and I'm sure people are ready to see me play Grandpa, which he's actually the oldest in the game at 62 years old. Um, but um, I just felt like I was doing good on Sigma, and I reached all these peaks and stuff like that, and I just enjoy the character. He's more fun to me than Reinhardt because Reinhardt's get blown up because they have to be in the front line. Sigma, you could play 20 meters back, unless your team wants to push in. But if they're with you, it's different. If Sigma has a team supporting him, Sigma could do a lot. If he has to be by himself playing at Sigma's max range, which is 20 meters, which you could is the point where you could still hit a direct. But even if you miss hitting the direct, and remember, Sigma shots implode. When Sigma shots implode, they do splash damage. So if you play at 20 meters, even if you miss, the splash damage will still do damage to the enemy. Okay, so that's one of the pro Sigma tips I could give you guys. Bouncing shots off walls is good, but if you play 20 meters away, it's that point where you can hit directs or hit them with the splash damage. And so I just enjoyed the hero, and he's one of the funnest ones. Wrecking Ball's movement's too hard. Zarya's abilities are boring to me. Ryan gets blown up. Hog feeds. Diva, I developed really bad habits because it's the first hero I one-tricked. And then I think there's no other tank in the game, is there?
Rissa,
Oh, Orisa's boring. Orisa's straight up boring. So no
Winston.
Orisa. Winston is. I just never liked Winston. I never liked. I can understand the hero. See, that's how you know I don't even play them. Like I know of the heroes, I don't even play them at all, and I just never really enjoyed them. So I say, maybe when Overwatch 2 comes out, I would be willing to learn another hero because, like I said earlier, everybody's gonna have the same amount on that hero. So if I could get really good at Sigma, keep that great Sigma status, be known for Sigma, and then pick up whatever Soundquake. This was a name that was mentioned in the first Blizzard trailer. I don't know if he's gonna be a hero or not, but I know they have a person named Soundquake. Soundquake comes out, everybody has 0 hours on that hero, and then I start my trip on that hero at the same time as everybody else. Then I feel like I have a good potential to be good, if not better than others. And maybe others would stop playing the hero, or I'll be able to like just get as good on that hero as Sigma
Okay.
if we start from the get go. So maybe when Overwatch 2, I'll play more heroes.
What about what do you think of McCree as a tank? Since he has that's a bad joke. I'm sorry. Since he basically unkillable now. Friggin' nerf his HP. Um,
So go ahead, sorry.
no, no, go. You go ahead. I was just making a bad joke.
So Sigma, they call him Buff Cree, I think. Buff Cree, Buff Cree. I think he's all right now. I think the nerfs they gave him were okay. I mean, him having 225 HP is pretty good, but I also feel like it's the same thing for Symmetra. Symmetra should have 200 HP too. Keep everything else, but just give him back to 200 HP. I think that 25 is a break point for certain characters. For Sigma, it doesn't matter if I hit 4 directs, he'll die. And same with Symmetra, but I think with Sigma, his rocks does 60, and if I hit 2 directs, it's 120. So that'd be 180, and then if I punch him, he'll still survive. Because it's 30 for a punch. So that'd be 90 plus 120, or does he still die?
He's 225.
Yeah, so he'll still have 15 HP left, right? 120 plus 60 plus 30, right?
What was it? 60 plus.
120
That's
plus 30.
180. That's 210. So yeah,
Yeah, so he'll have 15 HP left. He would die if you had 200. You see what I'm saying? So that's one example for Sigma where it's that break point for him. You know what I'm saying? But I think he's okay now. I mean, nerfing the the 25 HP would be good, but it could be a lot worse. I feel like it was not oppressive as what May used to be. It's a little bit less oppressive because May would just straight up freeze you. Yes, the flashbang stuns you, but you could get healed if your team plays with you or immortality field. If anything, I think Baptiste's immortality field is more of a problem
it
when
is.
it's on the enemy team, not on my team. If it's on my team, we're good. If it's on the enemy team, there's an issue. You know what I'm saying? But I would say focus more on maybe Baptiste's immortality field rather than McCree.
You know what's crazy is Immortality has more health than several of the characters in the game.
250?
200.
Oh, really?
Is it 250? Well, even if it's
It used to be, I think.
did they might have nerfed the health on it slightly, but it's still even at 200. Widow has 175. Tracer has 150. So it's an ability that has more health than certain characters in the game, and I think that's just
Well, yeah, but that's true. But at the same time, you can't like compare that. I feel because Tracer's a glass cannon. If you give Tracer 200 HP,
oh no, I think they should nerf the
now
HP on Immortality Field.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
no, they
yeah.
should be either nerf the. I don't even think nerf the HP. I think what they should do is like maybe when Baptiste throws Immortality Field down, you will survive like the next attack or something. Like for example, when Gravitic Flux, and this is a bad example because I love Sigma, but like as you're about to get slammed and Baptiste throws it, you'll survive the initial slam down. But then after that, you're susceptible to dying as normal if you don't
So
get healed.
so you're
You
talking
know?
about almost of like a timed invincibility. So like for 1 second you don't take
You
damage.
don't take damage. Kind of like in League of Legends, they have the flash, I think it's called. You like teleport away,
Right.
you know? And for that 1 second, you can't take damage and you teleport away. Well, for that 1 second or two, you're immune to any death. But then after the fact, if you don't get healed, you could still die. I think that would be a little bit better than you can't die at all unless that thing is destroyed.
Well, there's that. There's also the avenue. Since you mentioned League of Legends, there's a character in League called Kindred. I had to think
Okay?
for a name. And Kindred's ultimate is that Kindred's like a Grim Reaper type spirit
Yeah,
in the
she's the
form.
lamp,
Like,
right?
well, no, that's
What's it?
Thresh. That's
Oh,
Thresh.
that's trash. Okay, never
Kindred
mind.
is a almost a fox-like creature with like
Okay.
a wolf that follows her around. Well, they call her Lamb and they call the
Oh
wolf
yeah,
Wolf.
I know. Yeah, dude, I actually watched a video about the interaction between the wolf and the lamb.
Yeah.
That was really good. Them talking to each other was like it gave me goosebumps. It was so good. I actually got to show chat that
Yeah, but
at some point.
she looks as much like a lamb as Roadhog actually looks like an actual, hog.
Right.
But, but anyways, their ult is and I don't remember what the name of it is, but it puts down a field like an AOE field that anything in that field with an HP bar cannot go down past a certain point until that barrier runs out, and then it will heal everything in that field for a certain amount of HP.
Everything.
Everything. So
Oh,
neutral monsters, allies,
enemy.
enemies, you know.
Oh, okay. I mean, that
So
could be a good way.
if they did lamp where nobody could die, right, until it was destroyed, that might be a little more fair because then you'd have to be far more. I mean, as it is right now, you know, lamp. I feel like was one of those abilities where the placement of it was never emphasized as being as important as it should. You
That is
know,
true. That
like
is true.
Maywall, you screw up Maywall, and I hate May. As a take, I hate May. But if you screw up Maywall, you hurt your team. Your Rhine goes to shatter. You can block your Rhine shatter accidentally. You can screw up. Whereas with Lamp, if your Rhine just charges in, just throw Lamp in after him, and your Rhine probably gets away with an otherwise terrible charge because, and I know all about those because I play Rhine, and I charge on CD. But, your Rhine gets away with it, um, but because Lamp is 200 HP, because it's not counterable, there is nothing in the game that counters it. Um, you can't deflect it. You can't. Well, you can hack it, right? I think
Yes,
you can hack it.
you
Okay.
can.
Um, so, but you can't. But even then, that's technically not really counterable either. That means you can't eat it. You can't deflect it, right?
Nothing. Right.
You know, the interaction's weird with Baptiste, where if you sleep him as he's putting it down, it seems to take priority over every bit of CC. So, you can't really even flash bang him if he's hit click the button unless there's like
Right.
a delay on the keyboard. Um, so I just think that there should be more risk reward for the ability if you're going to make
I
that
agree.
ability. Um,
Cause I could see like okay maybe like throwing a immortality field into a grab because they're about to grab dragon. They'll save only your team because obviously you probably won't be up there, especially if you shoot it from a distance. But if you do have a Ryan who's in the grab, your Ryan is in your grab swinging into them, and they throw immortality, but your Ryan isn't gonna die while he's swinging because that immortality is there, and he could build his ult and then shatter right after the immortality is done, you know, and get value out of it. So I think that would be better. But I just feel like maybe either for a brief period they can die, or maybe damage reduction instead of immortality.
yeah. Or, I mean, there's always, increase the cooldown longer because realistically, what is it at? 30 seconds?
It's at 30 seconds, but that's like an ultimate at that point.
Yeah, but that's
Anything.
that's still that's still not long enough, in my opinion, because he's already got his ultimate, which is a
Right,
really good ultimate,
right.
and 30 seconds. I mean, that's almost a guarantee that you're not going to have a Genji build Blade faster. You're not going to have a Rhine. Well, Rhine might build faster, and maybe Winston, but there's very few things that are going to build faster than that.
Right, right. I just yeah, that is true. But I so that is true though, because you'll get an immortality field every fight essentially.
Yeah.
As opposed to an ultimate, you'll get every other fight depending on how much damage you do. Um, yeah, maybe if you increase the cooldown, maybe you get it once a fight. Maybe the Baptiste player would have to be more strategic with it and stuff. But I just still think even when that immortality is used, just people are still gonna be upset about the fact they still exist.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna be like, oh, it should be an ultimate at this point. The cooldown's so long, it's longer than Mercy Res. Or they're gonna be like, oh, it still protects your team from dying. Immortality is just busted by nature. And that's one of the things I think they have to look at, which
Well,
hopefully in Overwatch 2 we'll see.
hopefully, Blizzard definitely gave us the middle finger when they debuted Baptiste's new look.
Look,
Because what was the ability that he used? Immortality Field.
he
He
did
literally
use
throws
Immortal,
out Lamp in the little, 10-second
and
trailer.
yeah, but he does look good, and Summer looks amazing as well.
No, I mean the skins look great, but it's just one of those things where I don't know. In my opinion, an ability like that probably should never be in an FPS game.
Okay,
Where you can't die. Um,
right.
Especially because we've seen so often how frustrating, like, I mean, before Baptiste, even when you had Trance, right? Even when you had Trance, Nanoblade and stuff could still cut through it for squishies,
Yeah,
right?
or just throw a nade into it.
Yeah, there was still counterplay to it.
Right,
But when you got, like, again, like Brig, for instance, you know,
rally.
yeah, Rally was basically, uh, ultimate, version of Lamp. I mean, in a way, I mean, you weren't killing anybody through that armor unless well, even if you had a Brig, you were just gonna, survive. But I
Right,
mean,
because you did damage and you healed with your AOE by doing damage, and then you had rally building up at a rate. So it was rally plus the self heal and the healing AOE heal from Brig, especially if your second support was healing. Like if you had I don't know, Lucio's a bad example, but another support healing, it'd just be insane. You didn't die.
what do you hope to see in Overwatch 2?
So I'm excited for 5v5 because I think I'm a tank that talks a lot, so I'll be able to lead the team. And it's also one less character in each team, so less abilities to focus on and stuff like that. I think it might be a little easier to ult track, but the tank player has to lead the team better, which I think I'll be good at. So actually, I'm excited because I think I'll be able to take my gaming to another level and maybe be able to stick out more and do good. Because of the fact there's only one tank. So I feel like I'll be able to carry more when it comes down to it, and less ability, so maybe I don't have to, if I'm playing against a Rhine or something, I don't have to watch for Zarya bubble as much or something, or other tank abilities like Matrix or something. um but if I'm playing against the one tank, I feel like I just got to worry about him. So if it's a Rhine, I play 20 meters away, that Rhine can't do damage to me. If I play Winston, if they play Winston and play with my team, if he dives in, we kill him. You know what I'm saying? So I think it'll be good for me. Hopefully they introduce some good tanks that I could, like I said, learn and play and have fun with. And ultimately, though, I hope that it's a game that's good enough to like produce content and stuff. Like what I tell myself is, if I keep doing what I'm doing now and I keep continuing to grow, once Overwatch 2 comes out, a lot of people are gonna come to Twitch to watch Overwatch, and then I'll have a chance to be noticed even more by people, especially if I have a community being built already. You know what I'm saying? So if I suffer through, which I'm not saying I'm suffering, even though sometimes the game is not fun, if I push through this downtime now, grow my community, at the end of the day I'll have like a better chance of maybe sticking out or having an established community that's recognizable. And let's say I am the best Sigma in the game now, and I start putting YouTube videos out. When people come and they want to learn Sigma, they'll be like, best Sigma player, and then my videos will pop out. They'll watch that, they'll be like, okay, he's like one of the best Sigma players, unless his YouTube video says so or the title says so. And then I'll get recognition for that. So I feel like Overwatch 2 is gonna bring a lot of people back and hopefully revitalize the game and give content creators who are smaller, building up communities now, an opportunity to get bigger and meet more people and have more people stop by because of the game coming out. But ultimately, though, as long as it's fun and they do pretty good and fix some of the issues the current games have, I'll be more than happy.
Now, what do you think makes for bad games in Overwatch? Because some people have said balancing, some people have said the player base, some people have said heroes, some people have said the maps, some people. So, what is your take
Wow,
on it?
wow, 2CP makes the game the matches pretty bad. Take 2CP out, which they are, is gonna be a really good thing. I think having to try and synergize with another tank is good and bad at the same time. I'm gonna miss some of the synergy, but if I have a Roadhog who instead of with me is going on flanks and getting chewed up alive and feeding the enemy team, if that Roadhog isn't there no more, feeding as much ult charge, which in Overwatch 2 tanks do give less ult charge, which is good, then I could just focus on this one tank, right? And I don't have to worry about another tank like a Roadhog flanking my backline and fragging three people. I just focus on this one tank. I'm good. And then like I could turn around and peel a little bit, but I feel like my team should be able to have a little bit more relaxed time because they don't have to worry about someone flanking or something. And that's in the terms of like a tank, right? So I feel since there's one less person, less to worry about, and one less teammate that could be potentially toxic, potentially throwing, potentially being, an issue. You know what I'm saying? So there's five, four not including you, five including you. So you have a higher chance of getting one less problematic teammate. Um, and ultimately losing it always happens. Balancing could be a little bit better, it could be a lot worse though. But I think ultimately, like I said, 2CP, one less person being problematic potentially, and like if I one trick Sigma, right, and the other tank is an off tank player, I don't have to, like, sometimes they're like, can you play Ryan? No, I can't. Can you? No, I can't. We both double off tank, and if they have a main tank, you automatically win. But if I play Sigma and there's no other tank and we don't have to worry about synergy as much, I feel like there's an even higher chance.
Now, do you think that with going into this, right, and more of a reliance on um, one tank, one shot calling,
Mhm.
do you think that because we know this is going to happen, right? There will be
Right,
toxic people come from Overwatch to Overwatch 2. Do you
right.
think that might be, having the one less player or the toxic tanks, which I'll be honest, I don't feel like tanks are always the most toxic.
So
but
I think. Go
but
ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you think that that will also help to balance out, toxic people dropping because if they're not communicating as a tank, there's not somebody gifting, you know, them a free win because they're compensating for their bad plays. Because if you have, like, let's say, you were saying a feeding roadhog, right?
Mhm.
Um, but you had a really good Reinhardt, good Sigma, or a good ball, there might be ways to solo carry that. I mean, that's how strong tanks are right
Right.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Um, but do you think that those players might kind of drop off or have to learn to be better behaved? I mean, not to sound like a teacher yelling at the student in classroom, but I mean, I don't know another way to say it because of how poorly some people behave.
So I think like for certain tank players, they definitely are gonna have to learn how to play with the team and lead the team. Like I said, so if they don't do that as well, if they go on flanks and do things of that nature, they're just gonna drop an SR and go back to the rank they should be instead of getting like the free wins, like you said. Um, but I guess I guess ultimately, yeah, maybe I guess because it's one less person. I don't. I'm gonna be honest. And could you repeat your question a little bit? Because maybe I missed the ultimate question. If you
So,
can make it in one short statement, because I got a little confused there all of a sudden. I don't know why.
okay, so with what we were talking about, and you
Yeah.
were saying that, you as a tank, you feel confident in your shot calling. You feel confident that you can help carry with the
Right.
hero that you play, right? There are certain tanks that just, you know, they're toxic. They don't want to play with the team, right? But because of the way that Overwatch is right now, if like let's say that player is a Roadhog and they get a pick once in a while, or they, feed just little enough that the other tank can compensate, you can still win.
Yes.
But bad takes are going to be severely punished in
Right.
Overwatch 2. Do you think that that will be better for the community overall? Bad tanks kind of dropping, because a lot of people have said that tanks are boosted, right? That tanks have been
Okay.
boosted through role queue meta, through the strong heroes, and all this stuff. Do you think the summation of this question, do you think the good tanks will actually rise in rank? Cream, you know, cream of the crop, goes rises to the top, as they say. Um, and do you think bad tanks will start to fall off?
I think yeah, I think that's probably what's gonna happen. Like I think I'll be able to go in SR up a little bit more. I think, and I think tanks who don't play with the team or try to flank and stuff won't enjoy the game as much. So either they might leave, or they might have to learn a new hero and stuff, or drop in rank. And also, there is gonna be a little bit more pressure on the tank hero and stuff like that. I feel like if the person is toxic and stuff like that, then the team might just like it'd be like, okay, we're not gonna be able to win this game. This guy's too toxic and stuff, and so it has its issues where more people may drop. But I feel like, um, at the end of the day, it's gonna be better for the good tank players and for the bad tank players. They're either gonna have to step it up or change how they play.
Okay. Now, I do want to talk to you about a few more things before we get to the Q&A. Um, because I do want you to have time for your your own stream. Um,
Well, I told you I wanted to make this one of
yeah,
your
yeah.
best podcasts ever. I don't know if you saw that comment on the
No, no,
Twitter.
no, no. This has been awesome. This has been awesome, buddy. I really appreciate this.
Also, I'm gonna be honest. I wanted to be like, oh, we just had a stream podcast of Pavel, longest one I've ever had. So
No, I think it will be after this. So I am a huge proponent of mental health. Now, I know that part of the reason that I've had to back out of Overwatch is for my own sanity. Not even being funny. Like, I mean, I just, you have those days where you try your best over and over and over again. You keep losing. You're like, I don't really play Sigma, so I have to kind of, um, go with the analogy of like Reinhardt or whatever. But you shatter six, you kill four, and no one on your team is dead yet, and then all of a sudden somehow your whole team loses,
yes,
and you're just or the most fun thing as a tank in the world is when the enemy tank gets every bubble, every nano, every lamp, and your team is running around like a bunch of lost lemmings, and act constantly saying, "Why is our tank dying?" Like, I'm not getting any help. Like,
right, right,
their
right.
Rhine has the Lucio, their Rhine has the Ana or the BAP, their Rhine, and what do I have? I have the Mercy pocketing the Ash that's shooting her gun directly into the air,
In the Senora orb.
and the Zenyatta that can't shoot through the shield, so he's trying to flank on King's Row. So, that's what I have, right? I have a,
Okay.
and so when you have those matches, it really breaks your mental,
Right.
but also too, and I know that unfortunately you've had to deal with this, and if you don't want to talk about it, that's completely fine. But I was there for the stream, like I said, when you were playing with Remy, and you had a very, um, you might not want to use this word. I'm gonna use this word, idiotic, toxic person on one of your maps. Who,
Oh, but you there for that? You
yeah,
saw that happen?
who was
You
bragging
saw
about
you.
who was
You
bragging
saw,
about being
yeah,
4.2K because
yeah,
he
yeah.
didn't
The
play with
one,
you or
oh
something.
my God, yeah. He was like, man. I was being positive because I'm always a positive person, and the guy was like, man. I was like, guys, this game is winnable. It's an unlucky match. You're like, yeah, it's an unlucky match because I forgot to avoid you. Once I avoided you the other day, I won like so many games in a row and stuff like that. And I was like, well, buddy, and I was a nice person. It doesn't help because we're cluttering the comps. But I was like, well, buddy, if anything, just feel free to avoid me again. I'm sure you'll get your SR back. I wish you luck. What is your peak, buddy? 4.2. Oh, that's amazing. Keep it up, and you'll hit 4.3 and 4.4 and 4.6. You are an awesome, amazing player. And there's a reason why I say that because one, you don't know what that guy's going through, obviously, But I do feel like if someone can't realize, okay, hey, you're playing Overwatch, I'm playing Overwatch. I'm a human. Guess what? Guess what? You're a human too. You have feelings and emotions. So do I. Hi, nice. We're humans. Emotions, yay, right? But when you're more focused about a number in a game that, in theory, doesn't mean anything whatsoever besides a number, rather than how the other person is feeling, and then I think there's something wrong, and you might have to take a step back and reconsider a bunch of things. And if you could realize that and then change and be like, you know what, I'm gonna play Overwatch to have fun, win or lose. I still wanna, enjoy the game, right? Even if I lose SR, which is hard because I'm a positive person, right? But I lost 600 SR, right? When I played with Remy and the days before playing with Remy and stuff, I had been on a losing streak, right? Season 27, I went to 4199, right? I went from 4199 to 4K. This season, I went from 39 to 4K, and then from 4K to now I'm 3608, right? So I tell people I lost 600 SR. I have not gained SR. I've lost 600 SR, right? So this week I was like, I'm taking 7 days off. Today is day 7 out of 7 without playing Overwatch. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to reset the mental. Because yes, I'm a positive person, and I'll never tell somebody to, just rude stuff, KMS, themselves, like I would never do that. People do, and that's terrible. But I still sometimes there were nights when I lost those 600 I saw where I would end the stream and I would feel like crap. I would feel like, holy moly, what am I doing? This feels terrible, And I don't want to feel like that after I play Overwatch, If I want to play the game, I want to have fun. Even if I lose it, so I still want to feel good. But I'm a one trick, so I feel like people are gonna hate and stuff like that. I made a tweet on Twitter about people being rude to me and stuff, and you can see, oh, this one guy saying, "Oh, I don't respect you because you're a Sigma one trick or
Yeah, the
something."
King's Row or
Like,
something.
I'm a person with feelings and emotions. Like, why does me playing a specific hero make me not be respectable? Like, I'm a human just like you. You know what I'm saying? And I told them, I was like, okay, I understand. I respect that. Respect is earned, not given. And that's how I feel. So you earn people's respect. They don't just give it to you. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're not gonna respect somebody just because they play a specific hero. Because I don't know what the guy's been through. Like I said, he could be having the worst day of his life. Maybe he has issues at home. He's going through stuff and wants to escape the world. And maybe XR makes him happy. Gaining XR makes him happy, which is fine. But if you can't realize that there's other people playing the game and they have emotions and feelings too, there's something wrong with what you're doing. So going with mental health, the topic is Overwatch can make people depressed, have a hard time and stuff like that. I do know exactly what you mean with like being a tank player not getting the heals. There was one game on King's Row, the enemy team had Baptiste Lucio, we had Baptiste Mercy. Just because they had the immortality field, they won, but we made it respectable. The final score was 5-6. You know what I'm saying? We took it almost all the way to third point. You know what I'm saying? We made it respectable, and we came to it came to like the very last fight, literally. But because of the Baptiste, it just made the difference. And it was unfortunate because it was a Lucio one trick, a Mercy one trick, and me a Sigma one trick. You know what I'm saying? So that happens. But we made the match respectable. And even though we lost, I still enjoyed it. It was a crushing defeat because it was so close, but we still enjoyed it. And those are games of Overwatch that are fun, the one that are close and intense. Rolling a team isn't fun. Getting the SR is, but rolling a team isn't fun. And
Getting
getting
rolled
rolled is
saws. Yeah.
definitely not fun. You know what I'm saying? You want a match that's a little bit more even, which hopefully in Overwatch 2, they make matches a little bit more evened out. You know what I'm saying? That's one. Maybe by having one less person, it's a higher chance of them being more equal. You know?
And that's, I think, one of the biggest issues that, a lot of people don't really seem to bring up, which is kind of surprising, is that it's not that, that like the matches, and I'm not trying to be negative, but you have what are called those, loading screen losses where, and they're
Yeah.
real, where you're going to have the DPS player who they wanted
Insta
priority.
lock Genji.
Well, I was going to say they wanted priority passes,
Oh
and
yeah,
they
that too.
decided they're going to
Yeah.
go DPS Mercy, and because the SR, which by the way is one of the biggest mistakes that Blizzard did, roll Q, fine, but it's funny because somebody actually, um, mentioned this that League of Legends did what Blizzard did originally, realized what a horrible idea it was, and then changed it.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is originally they had separate ranks for each role. In League, for those of you who never played it, there's 5 roles: jungler, mid, ADC, support, and top lane. And you could have a diamond top laner who just queues up for, you know, bronze support or whatever, decides I don't like my teammates, throw the game, and there's no penalty for their main rank in their main role. And that's kind of
Okay.
what happens now. I mean, when you see these profiles, God forbid, you see these profiles where it's a 4200 DPS player and a 2600 support. And they just don't care. I think it's one of the biggest mistakes. But you have those matches, and I think that that's can be really taxing. But I think the biggest issue is not having closer matches, having these loading screen losses, having these matches where you know you go double bubble, which is really popular right now, and
Yes.
nobody I think, and I'm not even trying to be mean here, but I think nobody really that has not seen this before, and it's been a while since double bubble's been a thing. I mean, it's been seasons upon seasons, but it hasn't really had to deal with a hyper aggressive Winston. Um, they the backline doesn't know how to deal with it, so they just get shredded.
Right.
And that seems like a role. If you run double bubble, you know, just jump in with Winston, build 60% ult basically every fight, and then so basically every other jump in you're gonna ult, and then Anna's building nano off you. Yeah, you're just, I mean, it's just not fun if you don't know how to play against it. So I think that all those things kind of culminate to balancing and issues like that. Hang on one second, guys. All
Yes.
right, thank you. um and yeah, I know somebody in your chat said double bubble is so bad for, it's bad for all tanks. It's bad for all
It is horrible.
because what people don't realize about Winston bubble is Winston bubble doesn't just it's not just a defensive thing. It's an offensive thing too. When he isolates a Rhine that pushes just a little too far, if Rhine doesn't get out of that bubble, Rhine dies because Rhine
Right.
gets no healing. He can't get bubbles in the bubble. He can't get nano in the bubble. Like he can't, that's why you hear people screaming at higher ranks that as soon as the bubble drops, you have to break the Winston bubble because he will use it to isolate targets, not just to protect himself. So it's bad. It's just bad for non-Winston tanks in general because they can't get out of it fast enough. If they push up just a little past what their team can get into, they just Winston will just drop, and it makes him so safe because a good Winston doesn't jump into the fight. A good Winston drops into the fight, bubbles, and
No,
gets out
no.
and jumps out. You know, so you're not going to catch him off guard. And with uh, what does he have? 500 HP.
Yes. 100 shield, 400 HP. 100
No, it's
armor.
150 shield, 300 or 350 HP, right?
350 HP. Right. Okay.
Um, plus Zarya bubble, that's 200. So
Yeah. Or
nobody's
2
gonna,
seconds.
yeah, nobody's gonna really shred that, and it's just, it's just a free for all.
And you're not
So
even talking about the nano, because they like to play nano with that. And nano the
yeah,
monkey as he's dropping in, then he bubbles, then he get the Zarya bubble, or he
and
get
then
the
he'll
Zarya bubble
he'll
and then nano.
mostly have
Yeah.
he'll mostly build ult from that fight too. I did
Right.
the I did
Exactly.
the math the other day, and It was something like I did the math on stream. It was something like you'd have to deal 3,100 damage to him. You know,
How much? How much?
like because it's so if he gets nanoed, let's say that he gets nanoed. Okay, so
Yes.
he's 500 HP. He can go down to
Right.
1 HP before he ults, which he gets back 1,000 HP.
Yeah.
So 499 plus 1,000 is what he can have. If he gets nano during that, that's 50% damage reduction. So you'd have to deal that twice, which would be 2,800, which would be
Yeah.
2998
Okay.
plus the 200 from the Zarya bubble. So it's 3,198 is what you would
And
have.
then
That's the damage you'd have to deal to him to be able to kill him.
so
If with
directly to
nano.
him, but you're not even including his bubble though, because
No.
bubble is
Him direct.
another
That's for him directly.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with the bubble's another 700 HP right there too, so it could be even more if you include his bubble.
Yeah. Even
That's also go ahead.
I was just gonna say even the next closest would probably be Rhine, and Rhine would be you'd have to deal. Um, so Rhine is 500. 500 times two would be 1,000 plus the 1,200 plus if you say that you have to break Rhine's shield first, right? It's 1,600. So that would be 2,800. So the closest would be 300, almost 400
Right.
less than
Or maybe
Winston.
Wrecking Ball, because Wrecking Ball I think gets his base health plus the shields, then a nano, you know. But no, that is true. I didn't even think about it, but you do have to do a lot of damage in order to defeat the Winston. And usually when you play comps like that, you put everything into Winston, which is not fun. People would agree it's not fun. As a Sigma, I dislike Double Bubble. I'd rather play into Ryan Zarya than Double Bubble, if I'm being honest. I have an easier time with Ryan Zarya than Double Bubble because the Winston, no matter what I do to the Winston, he just all his damage goes through my shields and stuff. And if I play far away, he could just jump in. With Ryan, I could play my distance, spam him out. When Winston, I'm not able to do that. And when he jumps into the back line, let's say I'm playing a little further up, then I have to peel back, right? I have to go through his bubble to get to my teammates. And if he's a good Winston, he could bubble dance, shield dance there, and I wouldn't be able to do the damage or hit him with any abilities. It's yeah, it's definitely not fun. I'm not saying Winston is broken, but he's just not fun to play against. And I just never really liked Winston. I never understood how he worked in his kit. I'm not good with him at all. But so the good Winston's prop to you guys, but I just can't do it.
I always liked Winston because he was the antithesis of what you would think of a tank when you think of him, right? He doesn't really necessarily play directly behind his shield. He can play around his bubble for the most part, but it's not, directly a shield in front of him. The he's not necessarily anti-peel. Like he's not necessarily against peeling for his team, but he's more of the, fight initiator, whereas a Rhine dictates the path of the team, but he's not necessarily dictating the fighting pace of the team, if that makes sense. So Ryan will dictate
Right.
whether you can push forward or you have to, come back. But Winston directly says the fight starts now, and
Wow.
so a lot of people, I think they can get, uncomfortable with that, making decisions, knowing who to jump and all that, and also too, um, not so much now because of the Zarya bubble and stuff, but Winston in the past had to be very careful of who had ults and who had cooldowns and who was protecting who um,
Right.
and I think a lot of people don't necessarily care for that, but yeah, I mean as a tank player, there's a lot of tanks right now that are just in a very oppressive state where I understand the frustrations of DPS and all that. You know, what do you do if, for instance, a nanoed Rhine with Lucio is walking on you as, um, I don't know, uh, let's say, well, I mean, Hanzo could go high ground. Let's just say, McCree even, as strong as McCree is right now. Nanoed Rhine with Lucio just runs up on you. There's nothing you can do about it.
Right. Yeah. There's none.
So it's really, whereas the inverse of that, yeah, Nano to McCree's no fun, but at least the Rhine can defend himself with a shield and block some of the damage. The McCree has no recourse to get away
Right.
from the Nano Rhine that's running up on him.
Well,
So
but that would also be come down to like tanks too. You would also want your tank to be in front of the way. Obviously, if your tanks are dead, then there's nothing you could do. It's game over essentially at that point. But if you lost both tanks, then you know the fight is pretty much lost unless you pop an insane ult. But if it's a nano Rhine and there's no tanks on your team, you're probably screwed. But that goes back to Overwatch 2 though, and it being 5v5. You double bubble isn't a thing. It's not. So it comes down more, yeah, the Winston could still be strong, but I feel like every tank has a better opportunity to shine. If given the correct changes, like Roadhog, for example. Like I was thinking about it, in Overwatch 2, is Ryan just gonna be pretty strong against most tanks because of the fact that he could just shatter and shatter would be free. Obviously, shatter is gonna be less frequent because tank lives give less ult charge, and also there's one less tank, right? But every time an ult is possible, at least for Ryan, is he just gonna get a lot of more value than other heroes just because you know the shatter is almost guaranteed to hit. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're playing against D.Va, maybe, who already used her boosters, or against a Roadhog in his current state. That's why you got to see where all the changes are coming in for Overwatch 2 for every specific hero. But, like, the Shatter just seems like it's going to be such a really good ability. But the same could be said for almost, like, Gravitic Flux. If there's no Zarya to bubble, bam. Like, then Gravitic Flux is guaranteed to hit a couple people. Um, but you know, it just all depends what all the like I said, all the changes are done to every single character in Overwatch 2. But the fact that there isn't a second tank and there's not those synergies anymore, I feel you have to be more creative or use more mechanical skill in order to succeed in fights rather than relying on just pure abilities.
I think what's also going to happen too is people are going to, because even to this day, it's such an issue. People don't want to focus tanks.
Yes.
Um, your DPS wants to shoot around the tank. They don't want to shoot the tank. But I think people are going to have to learn, just like you said. Okay, so the catch 22 of this whole scenario is that okay, so let's say we Overwatch 2, we know Ryan has Shatter, right? And we have Hog on our team, right? Our Hog pretty much has to save his hook for Shatter.
Right.
So, um,
Or keep track that Shatter's coming. Hey guys, don't play behind me. He has Shatter. Don't play behind me. Don't get caught in it.
yeah, well, yeah, or if you have Ana or something, Ana plays back away from Shatter and tries to sleep it before after Ryan does it. So you're going to have to play more like that because Ryan's not going to. Because again, going back to what I was saying earlier, and you're right that if you don't have a tank to match Ryan, you're probably going to get run over. But with Lucio's speed and tight corner fights, Ryan can just amp or have Lucio amp speed, even if you're a Ryan v Ryan, and he can just run past your Ryan and shatter everybody.
Right.
They do
Right.
it all the time. So, but not having like a Zarya to bubble the Rhine or anything like that, his shatter becomes far more counterable because he's going to be open when he does it. There's not going to be anything countering it.
That is
So,
true too. That is very true. It all depends how you look at it. That's a really good
not
perspective. I
countering,
didn't
sorry.
even think about it that way. One thing I did want to ask you real quick was, about like crossplay, right? So
Hmm.
there are certain buffs on like PS4 and Xbox, right? That one crossplay is a thing. For example, Anna's more forgiving on console. You could aim a little bit further off and still heal or
Hmm.
hit abilities. And Torb turret and Symmetra turret, I think, on PC are a little bit stronger than on console. Um, what do you think they're gonna do about this? Just drop those
Well,
changes, make it all unified,
they
or
said aim assist will not be a thing.
okay,
Yeah, if you are on console and you play on PC, aim assist will not function. So
okay,
you're going to have the same accuracy and skill set as somebody that would be playing on PC. As
okay,
far as buffing and stuff like that, um, I don't know. I think that they would have to make it all uniform because that wouldn't be fair to either player base,
right,
right? I do think that when crossplay happens, you're going to see a lot more Pharah. You're going to see a lot more Sim, a lot more Torb. you're going to see a lot more of these hero builder heroes and defensive. Well, originally what were defensive heroes, because, and I'm not trying to be derogatory to anybody's aim, but these are characters that people feel more comfortable starting out on console than they do going straight to like from CS:GO to Widowmaker, right? So I mean, not that there's not top 500 Widows on console, there are, but I think it will be you will see more tracking heroes.
Right.
You'll see a lot more tracking, a lot more projectile, because I think they translate a lot better on console than just the pure hit scan do.
Yeah,
So
I know the projectile was a little bit rough at first because Sigma's a projectile to get used to, but then after that we were smooth sailing, smooth sailing.
I do better on projectile than I do hit scan. Always have. I do better Torb's projectile. I do always do better on Torb. Um, than well, he's half and half. His right click is technically hit
Right.
scan, but
It's
uh,
kind of like hog.
yeah. Um, but I always do better than that. Okay, buddy. I think what we're gonna do, we have definitely officially broken the record for longest podcast. So I think we're
Did you
gonna
have any more questions though? Is there anything you felt like we didn't cover though? Just to throw in, like
well
anything you.
we're gonna get to that
Oh,
now. So we're gonna go with the Q&A. So if there's
okay.
anybody that has any questions for Pavel, um, did I say it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
pretty good. Pavel. Yeah.
Uh, you can type it in his chat. You can type it in my chat. As always, we keep it TOS friendly. Memes are welcome, but we try to keep it, on somewhat on the level of relevant to the podcast. But
Right.
with that being said, I always like to start just give people a little bit of time to gather their thoughts and stuff like that. So um, my question is, in regards to content creation, what
Okay.
about the future of content creation for you? Do you think you're going to stick with strictly Overwatch? You think you're going to move on? Has this break kind of helped open your eyes to new possibilities, or did it kind of just reaffirm that you want to be Overwatch?
So, I feel like I'm more open to maybe doing some like 'cause I stream every day, right? Every day at 7 p.m. EST is my goal of going live, and I've been doing really well recently. Except one day within the last week or so, I started at 8. Um, but I noticed that the people who truly enjoy who I am as a person still come back regardless of what I'm playing and stuff like, which is awesome. But more people stop by because of Overwatch. Maybe because they just love the hero. I just noticed that about the Overwatch community. More people prefer to watch Overwatch, and if you switch to another game, they don't come back. So I
Right.
would be more open to maybe once a week having a day, like a mental reset day, where I still stream, but take a day off of Overwatch just to rest a little bit, my brain, and then go back at it. Because I felt great since I haven't played the game. I do miss it, but I felt great. So maybe once a week I could play a random game, whatever game. Um, you know, I do not think I would quit Overwatch though. I think I would keep going with Overwatch as my main game because I've noticed more it's easier to get found and meet more people and run into more people if I'm playing Overwatch, because you could chat with somebody in the game, out of the 6 people, and maybe someone, hey, are you streaming? Yeah, I am. Oh, what's your Twitch? Here it is. And maybe they see you, they stop by. Um, but with other games, I've been playing Nintendo games. I haven't had as many people find me or stop by as when I'm on Overwatch. You know what I'm saying? So I would take a day to rest, play another game, but I don't plan on quitting Overwatch. Like I said earlier in the stream, I want to build a community in this game and keep pushing forward, keep playing it, and hopes that once Overwatch 2, if I'm established during Overwatch 1 with Overwatch 2, then I could elevate my level and do a little bit better or do even more and have more people stop by.
Okay, I think that's a great plan, honestly, and I think having variety days is great for a mental reset, and it also helps. I feel like with the creativity, right?
Right.
It helps you to kind of step away from content creation for one thing and experience content creation for another. Because I think content creation for ranked Overwatch is vastly different than content creation for a scary game like Outlast, right?
Right.
So, besides Hard Blue, who do you hope to run into in the future? Oh, you answered it. Dang it.
Yeah, and but I could say I would like to meet Space just because I think he's a really good Sigma player. I
Okay.
would like to be like, yo, Space, your Sigma's cracked, man.
I think you kind of answered Soft's question of, do you think you will ever quit OW?
No, I don't. I don't think so unless the game died. Because I feel like I'm really good at the game and I really do enjoy playing Sigma and stuff. And I
Uh,
haven't hit my goals neither. So,
What is your, all right, what about this one? What is your favorite comp?
oh, I like playing. If I'm being honest, Sigma Ryan is really fun because Ryan could be hold the front line a lot better. So if we have Baptiste Lucio, and Sigma Ryan, McCree, whatever other DPS, I think that comp is really good. I like playing with Sigmas because they hold the front line, and then if the enemy has a Lucio, right, then if he tries to speed on, my Ryan can help hold the front line. Or if they're matching us, I think most of the time I think I'm confident enough that I could out Sigma the other Sigma. So that's also why I like running against Sigmas too. Cause most of the time I feel like I could outplay Sigmas. There's been a couple of times I haven't, but I like playing against Sigma because I feel like I'm a better Sig.
Okay. So going off of that, what do you think is the worst comp?
So I think Sigma. Uh, I mean, I've won with every single comp imaginable. Sigma Rissa I've won with, Sigma Rhine I've won with, Sigma Zarya I've won with, Sigma Diva I've won with, Sigma Wrecking Ball I've won with. But I just feel like I see the Sigma Wrecking Ball is happened more times than not. It's people instead of I tell you I play at 20-meter range. Instead of people booping them away, they boop them into me. So then, and if they have a Rhine that is, I'm trying to play this far away, Wrecking Ball boops him in, and now he's in my face, and I'm gonna get rolled. So I think the Sigma Wrecking Ball tends to be hard, but it could also be really good. I think that's the harder ones to execute. After that, maybe Sigma Diva. Um, but again, there's combos with synergy with each of the tanks. Wrecking Ball, Power Drive, Gravitic Flux Mines, Diva Bomb, Flux, and stuff. But I
A,
think one of those two is probably the worst.
a lot of people have trouble. I've noticed a lot of people have trouble with playing Diva with a more stationary tank. Um,
Like Orisa.
well, Arissa, Rhine. Sigma's not stationary, but Sigma can be station. He can sit up
Right,
at that point, and a lot of divas just want to go, 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 go. They do not want to stay with their tank. They want to constantly solo dive, and it just doesn't work out.
right.
Um, a lot of them will, like when they're with the Rhine specifically, they always want to go forward. If the Rhine doesn't, well, the Rhine's dictating that, not you. The person with the shield, the person with the shield dictates what happens in the fight. you know,
Right.
unless you're playing some, solo take ball comp or something like that. But yeah, you got to you can't. That's another pet peeve of mine. You can't pressure your Rhine or your Sigma or whoever into doing something that they don't feel comfortable with because the Sigma has no shield, no grasp. I mean, half health. Don't tell your Sigma to push up. Doesn't matter
Right.
if you have beat or nano or whatever. You could still no shield, no grasp. You could still get
Killed.
barraged. Yeah, you could still get shattered. You could still. I mean, it's just not. Don't don't do it. It's not
Which
fun.
is something that I call out a lot. I'm like, hey, no cooldowns, no cooldowns, play slow, no cooldowns. You know what I'm saying? It's something that I definitely try and tell people or let people know. So they hopefully they play slower. But I do agree with that. Yeah, telling your tank like if I'm not in a good position, telling me to push up. Like if I do, I've noticed that most times I end up like getting rolled.
All right, I'm looking through your chat for. Let's go with. Uh, okay, so let's keep it to content creation. The lottery question is funny, but um, are you going to try to hit GM with all rolls?
No, just because I am not good at all the roles. Compared, like my tank
We'll
is
make a Tor main
GM.
out of you yet.
Yeah, I imagine. My tank is top GM top 500, and my DPS and my support are not the same. My DPS is diamond, and then my support is like plat. So, and I'm just honest, I just focus on tank. And Sigma is one of those heroes that plays very differently, because his gun is a projectile, right? But he also throws two at the same time, you know. And so you gotta like I don't know how to explain it. His aiming, his style, and how you position and play as Sigma is so different from all the other heroes. Even every hero is different, right? Obviously, but I just feel like his style of shooting, like you could be like, Soldier and McCree are kind of similar. They're both hit scans. You know what I'm saying? Widow's kind of similar. You could say Hanzo's similar to like, I don't know, like maybe Junkrat or something. But like because they're like projectiles and stuff. But I just feel like Sigma's just so different, and like my skill doesn't transfer over as well to other heroes. Like on DPS, I play Junkrat or McCree, and then on support, I like playing Baptiste or maybe some Ana. But no, I don't think I'll ever hit GM on all roles. I wouldn't go for it personally. Maybe one day, but as of right now, at least, definitely not.
I feel the same way. I've only ever really been interested in tank. There's a few support characters. I like Ana. I like Torb. I like Tracer. But as far as the actual role of DPS, I couldn't care less. I mean, and it's not to be dismissive. That's just not what interests me.
Right, and
I
that's fair.
I've always in RPGs, whether it was WoW or Final Fantasy, I always wanted to be the healer, or I always wanted to be the tank. I never wanted to be the mage or the rogue or the archer or the whatever. I wanted to be the person that peeled for and soaked up the damage, or I wanted to be um, the healer and the person that kept everybody alive. And I think part of that was because I wanted to actually play with other people, so those were the roles that nobody wanted.
That is
So
true.
I kind of did that. All right. Well, I think there was one other question.
And then I have a one question or two questions for you, and if you don't mind.
Sure, I do want to. I do want to. I do really like this question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead. Ask me
Um,
whatever. I'm open book.
for is it? I don't want to mispronounce her name. Is it Crosby?
Crosby, yeah.
Crosby. Where would you like to see the channel in a year's time?
True. That's a really good question. That's a really good question. Um, so I have a couple goals I need to write down because I don't really write them down and stuff like that. But the goals I have are goals that are depend. So this is one thing about goals. I feel people do goals wrong. They make goals that are dependent on others, not themselves. You know what I'm saying? For example, I want my goal is to hit 1,000 followers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hitting 1,000 followers is good, but that depends on other people coming in and following you. You know what I'm saying? Um, for another example is a lot of people's goals, and this is now I'm not trying to attack anybody or anything like that. It's saying I want to go full time. That's not a bad goal, but it's kind of relying on others in the sense that you have to make content that others like and are gonna give you money and support you with. So while you can make great content, you're still relying on others, and so I feel like that's not a good goal because you're relying on other people. I think goals that are better are like goals that rely solely on you and your abilities. For example, I want to post YouTube videos 3 times a week, and it's actually a true goal of mine. I want to start posting. I have an editor that I'm gonna start posting with and stuff. He's already made a couple videos. I showed him in chat. People have really liked them, so I'm gonna start posting 3 to 4 times a week on YouTube. That YouTube posting stuff falls on me. I want to start streaming every day at 7 p.m. EST. That falls on me. You know what I'm saying? So goals of that nature, I want to maybe try and be a funnier person, which I'm not. I don't think I'm a funny person. Maybe one day I'll try to be funnier, but that falls on me. But goals that, I want to hit a certain amount of subs this month, rely on other people. I want to hit a certain amount of followers, relies on other people. I want to be full time, relies on other people. So my goal, if I'm being honest, is just to continue being a good a good person who you guys still find wholesome, who provides decent enough content for you guys to come back, or great content for you to come back. I would like to continue doing what I'm doing and being consistent with the start time and things of that nature. It might change if I get a job. We'll see. But ultimately, I would like obviously the channel to grow, but that's kind of like a something that a lot relies on other people, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but I definitely would like the channel to grow and stuff. But my main focus is be getting better at content creation, getting better at Overwatch, and being able to produce content that you guys could consume and enjoy. That's my goal for the next year. If we don't grow, not a single person in viewer count, it doesn't matter. The fact that I'm able to do that and ultimately make you guys happy and be a place you guys could come to forget about life for a while and feel better, then that's my goal. And then I feel like I would accomplish all of that. Now, in terms of like Overwatch though, for example, I would like to hit 45, 46 and be known as one of the best Sigmas in the game. And that again falls on me and my skill and stuff. Um, but again, goals relying on others is not a bad thing. I would like to hit 2,000 followers by the end of the month. I'm at 1,500, so 500 for the rest of the year should be reachable if I get about 100 a month. But that relies on other people. So if that doesn't happen, I'm not gonna feel bad because it relied on others.
And I want to add something to that. Actually, somebody sent me a video from the YouTuber slash streamer Ludwig. Uh,
Ludwig, yes,
yes,
that's
who for those of you who don't know, was the first person I think ever to hit 1 million subs, um, which is insane, right?
well, no,
Uh,
he didn't hit 1 million subs. He hit like 280,000 subs
oh, did he?
on Twitch,
Okay.
280,000 subs on Twitch. The reason why it was a big deal is because he surpassed Ninja's previous record of like 240, 250, two hundred
Oh,
sixty
okay.
thousand.
Okay.
That's what it was.
So maybe
Yeah.
I was thinking of he made $1 million or something like
Yeah,
that
he
from.
made $1 million that stream. Yeah, because he subathon for 30 days, or a whole month. So he did make over $1 million or around there.
He he put out this video about content creation. It was an awesome video, and I definitely need to put it in my Discord. Link it to you if you want to put it in your Discord. But one of the things that he talks about is, specific goals versus generic goals. And to say, I want my stream to grow, I want to go full-time content creation, it's a generic goal. Most people who do this at some point that pops into their head. I'd like to do this full time. Okay, but what specific goals are you going to meet to make that a possibility? Whether it's you saying I want to meet, start off with 50 subs a month, then try to go for a sub goal of 100 goals a month. I want to put a YouTube video every weekend. Um, uh, to I want to put out a YouTube video every day. To I want to, uh, you know, start. I'm originally playing this game, but I need to find, like, for instance, League of Legends, right, or Overwatch. These games are still what you would call oversaturated, right? There's a lot of people streaming them. How are you going to be different? Whether it's one advantage I think One Tricks have is that, if I want to come find a sick player, I know where to look, right? Whereas, if if somebody just plays whatever tank, um, I mean, how are they going to differentiate yourself, right? Because that's what you constantly have to try to figure out is how you're going to differentiate yourself. Um, and that's, I think that's a big, big thing with content creation. And another thing is write down your goals, you know, so that you see them every day. Whether you get on the computer, you got to print it out and tape it to the refrigerator, old school style.
I have a big space on the left hand side over here that you can't see on stream, and I'm thinking of maybe getting a whiteboard and just sticking it on there and writing my goals down and stuff on it. So when I wake up, I have to turn to the right to get off my bed. I could see it every morning or whenever I wake up.
I gotcha, and I think that is awesome. Okay, with that being said, I think we're about to end. We're gonna end close to the 3 hour mark. So that's a hell of a podcast, hell of a stream. And this has been awesome. I think this has been, you know, uh, all the interviews I've had have been super enlightening. It's been great to meet people. Um, and I think this has been a special interview um, because of where you started out, where you've come from, and your positivity and continuing to go, to have the drive to not let things get you down. And if things do get you down, to be able to step back, reevaluate, and continue forward, and not let yourself
Yeah.
stay down, too long. because things are always going to get people down, right? With that being said, I think we're going to go ahead and hand things over to your side of the stream. So for those of you who are in my channel, we're now going to go and raid Pavel's. Oh,
Yeah, I did have a question for
oh,
you though.
sure.
I had two. One that I was curious about is how long have you been streaming for, and two, something that I have a hard time with is like the definition of content, though, if I'm being honest. What is content? What makes content? And I want to hear what you think, because like anybody could just play Overwatch and make a YouTube video. What makes it content? What makes it like, hey, um, this is good content. This is bad content. This just all depends on the person and who you're targeting to. Like, because I've made, for example, TikTok videos, and I don't really enjoy TikTok because, like, I never know what to make on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? And just me playing Overwatch, is that content that could be used? Because all I'm doing is pretty much playing Overwatch. Yes, I talk to chat, but I'm just playing Overwatch. Yes, it's at a high level, but is that itself just inherently, you know, content, or like is content more like, okay, this game I put a challenge in chat. I'll be like, hey, whoever gets a 4-man kill, I'll PayPal $10, and then I could take that and be like, streamer pays teammates for meeting a certain goals. Is that content right there? I heard people say, they played Mercy and only used Blue Beam. Is that what makes it content? Like certain goals, certain challenges, hitting a certain rank, like what is content creation? That's something I have a hard time with. So it's something I would like to ask you and
So I
see.
think I think content creation could be almost a universal term for what people do in terms of the entertainment industry that is bringing a unique experience to um, a general situation. So, for instance, right, video games or walking down the street or going to the gym, or these are things that most people do in some form or whatever, right? So, some shape. The content creation comes in from what do you do with that generic aspect of life to make it individualized to you yourself. How do you go about exercise? How do you go about a cooking stream? How do you go, because like when I'm cooking, I'm very OCD. I have to cook and clean at the same time. you know.
Same, same.
So how do you go about that, and how does that relate, to your audience? That's where content creation comes about. Unfortunately, there is bad content creation and good content creation. And sometimes the bad content creation is what's popular, it's what makes it. For instance, um, drama, right? Social media drama, Twitch drama,
Yeah,
you know, that unfortunately, as they say, controversy sells. And unfortunately, um, that is what some people choose to do with their time and their effort is to make controversy, and they choose to put all their focus and effort into either criticizing others, belittling others, and unfortunately it works sometimes. I would love to say we live in a world where somebody used their platform to demoralize people that they wouldn't have a platform, but we've seen time and time again that that's just not the case.
right.
Um, so, but you as a person, I think content creation is something that you get to ultimately define. Now, it is something that you are adding. Again, I do believe the basic definition is something you are adding to a widely held experience, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
An already widely held experience, whether again it's exercising, cooking, these are things that people do. These are people do on a regular basis. What do you add that's going to make it your individual experience with that aspect of life? That's what I believe content creation is. And then showing that to people is the showcase of content creation. That's the entertaining aspect side of it, right? And that's why I believe that you have to adhere to who you are. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I will never be the streamer that's doing 50 cartwheels in the background, because I got a skin in a loot box. I mean, hey, It's an awesome skin. It's cool, right? I love the I call it the choo choo, but the train conductor Reinhardt skin. I love it, right? It's my favorite skin in the game. I love charging into people and just the train noise going off. But I'm not gonna jump out of the bunny suit and be swinging it around. "Ah, I got a loot box. Like that's somebody else's individual experience. That's not mine. And
Right.
so, what I bring to the table is different than what you bring to the table, and that's why you could stream Overwatch and I could stream Overwatch and we both be successful streaming it. Um so that's my feelings on it. Now, you asked another question at the beginning there and I couldn't remember.
How long have you been streaming
Oh,
for?
so I started streaming in October of 2019.
Okay.
So, and then when I was playing Remnant, it was kind of when I was hitting my peak. But again, Remnant faded out, and so I had to, go and take care of some other stuff in terms of health and all that. And so, just kind of things took precedent. But, I am not the first person to have had to do that. I will not be the last. And there have been numerous people that have taken breaks from streaming that have given up streaming for a while
Yeah, that is
that
true.
came back 6 months. They got partnered.
Right,
That
that is true.
revitalization of the mental health and maybe even finding new games, right? Um,
Very true.
so,
Okay.
all of that stuff, you know, content creators, your health, both in terms of physical and mental, matters. So,
That's that's actually really good. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for explaining me your content creation thing. That actually kind of clears my mind. Actually, you'd be surprised like how much more makes sense to me now. And I do want to say thank you for the podcast. I really do appreciate it. If you don't mind though, before we end and stuff, I like to show you guys something a little bit special. You know exactly what it is because I did it earlier. But I just want to leave everybody with a little note. Believing in yourself is half the battle. So just focus on you. Like I said earlier, your attitude determines your altitude. Focus on what you want to achieve. Don't compare yourself to others because if you compare it to others, you'll never feel good. You know, if you could be like, "Oh, I work at McDonald's. Look at Jeff Bezos. How much money he makes. That's insane, right? Jeff Bezos makes so much money. If you compare yourself to someone else, then you always feel miserable. Focus on you, your path, the life you are pursuing. Don't worry about others. You got this. We all fight our own battles. It's okay to reach out, ask for help. Don't feel pressured. It's gonna be okay. We all have our issues, our struggles and stuff. It's gonna be okay. At the end of the day, keep doing you. I believe in each and every single one of you guys. You guys are awesome. And yeah, I appreciate this podcast, man. It was great talking to you, getting to know you. It's the first time I've ever done anything like this. I actually really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for that. I hope you have the next couple you do are just as great and stuff like that. And I hope maybe you could learn or take something away from this one. And with that being said, I'm gonna show you guys something special. And then if you want to end it after that, we are good to go. I feel like I said everything, but I really do appreciate this opportunity. You guys ready, everybody? Here we go. Ba 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 ba. Sigma toe. Peace out, everybody. And remember, this is for the people in my chat. I have my own hand sign. Snail gang. You see the little snail? Snail
I like
gang.
that.
Peace out, everybody. Be good. Stay out of trouble. And good luck. It was a
So,
pleasure.
on my end, thank you all so much as always. Remember, next week at 10 p.m. on Friday, the 18th, we're going to have Baby Poro on. Then the following day, on the 19th at 8 p.m., we're going to have on Fails and Luck. Thank you all so much for joining us this weekend. Another awesome series in the podcast. And yeah, this has been an awesome ride. So, as always, everybody, we will catch you later on. Going to send you all over to this wonderful dude that you've been meeting for the past 3 hours. So, we're going to send you his way. Much love, everybody. And I will catch you all tomorrow night. Bye, everybody.
Peace out, everyone.
All right, buddy.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna hand things over on your end. Thank you so much again.
Thank you,
Um,
bud.
and yeah, I'll let you take it away. I'm going to jump out of the bunny suit because it is blazing hot in here. So, all right. Much love, everybody. Thank you all so much, and thank you all from Pavel's stream. Thank you for everybody that stopped by, said hello, and it really does mean a lot that you all come out to support these content creators. So I will catch you all later. Bye, everybody.
Have a good one, bud. Have a good one. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Later.